They used to call us fat fucks. My friend's mother, Barbara.
How old are you?
14. She rolled down the window of her Saturn. She was smoking a cigarette, and she'd go, "Where are you fat fucks going?" It really exposes the lie of the Woodstock generation. We see them as this progressive, free-loving they were just selfish drug addicts. I think Obama is probably bisexual. And then Tucker went around Moscow making YouTube videos. Yeah, it's weird to be a 50-year-old YouTuber. He's making Nelk Boy style videos in a grocery store. I think it's a great story. I think people are supporting Shane.
Yeah.
He did an amazing job. If the boomers can be explained in one sentence, it's a woman sitting down drinking a coffee going, "The Irish were slaves too."
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Flagrant. Today we are joined by an illustrious guest. It's amazing that he's even here right now. There's been a tragic death in the family. Lord Jacob Rothschild has died, but Tim Dillon is still here. How?
Wow.
How did you pull through?
Well, when someone has an impact on you, as he did, he made a huge impact on me and my family.
Right.
You want them to be at peace.
Yeah.
And, he suffered a long time.
Like 87 years of suffering.
It was 87 years, and he finally escaped his human form.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Transcended.
He transcended. He went back to, he went back to the core of the earth where he lived.
You think he went down?
I think he's in the center. I think
okay.
they spend some time in the center.
Got it.
To just kind of
Work things out.
Yeah, work things out.
Yeah.
But
so not straight up. He's not going straight up.
No, I don't know if he's going up at all.
Oh, really?
I don't know if he wants to be up. I don't think he wants to be up. No.
The family reunion's downstairs.
Yeah, it's in the core. There's a molten core where Lord Jacob Rothschild is just kind of sitting there now. Just,
Who is this guy?
Very wealthy, member of one of the most famous and talked about families of all time.
Yeah. But was he like a major player? Was he just a trust fund kid that kind of?
No, he's a player. They're very, very good at keeping their name kind of out of the press. So, what he did or didn't do, or how powerful any people are in that family, you kind of have to guess, because there's a lot of, websites that will tell you that every stoplight is them.
Yeah.
That's going on, and the weather, and all in Taylor Swift and the Super Bowl and all of it.
Pulled Taylor into
I'm sure. It just, because a lot of it is silly.
Yeah.
But they are incredibly powerful, and they're very good at keeping themselves kind of in the background of the photo. So in the photo, there's people that we all know, and the leaders of countries and everything. And in the background, it's kind of, they're off to the side, but they're there.
Yeah.
They're hanging.
Yeah.
They're interesting.
Tim, I'm really excited you're here, because I feel like there is a problem. And I feel like
with the Rothschilds. No. Okay.
Well, not just the
Glad that's why I was brought.
It's not just the Rothschilds.
Yeah.
It's that I feel now, more than any time in history, there's been a lot of negativity towards the 1% and the billionaire.
Yeah.
And what can we do to change that?
Well, I would say I agree with you.
What is
first of all?
Why is there such resentment?
1,000%. It's not their fault. Number one.
It's really not.
It's really not their fault.
The excitement right now.
And it's not their fault, because I think they could take it down a notch.
Could they?
Well, yeah, because a little bit, I say to them, I go, if I'm doing don't publicize every space mission. You know what I mean?
Do some sneaky ones.
Do one late at night. Yeah. All the boys. We're going up at night.
Have everybody in Santa Barbara think it's aliens.
Right.
Oh, it's aliens.
It's fun. I think when you start calling the press and going, "Here's my spaceship," people start to get angry.
They resent that?
They don't like it. There's a guy right now, Ken Griffin.
Yes, Ken.
Citadel,
is that Ken?
Citadel.
Yeah.
He's building right now, and this is too much.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you about it. $1 billion house in Palm Beach. I love Palm Beach.
I know.
$1 billion.
Billion.
By the way, and here's why it's too much. It's for his mother.
He thought he was going to get away with it. That bitch is dead soon. He's moving right in.
It's too much to say those words. I'm spending $1 billion to build the most expensive house in the world.
Yeah.
And then it's all for mom.
Yeah.
That is going to get people.
Did he think that was a good enough shield to protect
maybe he
him
thought that
from
was
the
PR.
harassment?
I think he was trying to sound sweet.
Yeah.
And he
That's
was
what I'm
kind of
saying.
like, if you had this, wouldn't you build $1 billion house for his mother?
Let's just answer that question right now.
Yeah, right.
No.
Not at all.
But for your dad. You guys gotta love your mother.
Are you spending $1 billion?
My mother would ruin $1 billion house with Hess trucks and Beanie Babies, collectible, the worst. My mother would anything I bought her, she would destroy it with knickknacks and tchotchkes.
That's the reason.
Oh, the worst.
Yeah. She's just gonna
Snow
ruin
globes she stole from a hotel in Vegas are now littered all over a Palm Beach estate.
Hoodie.
So you think the billionaires are going too far? They're flexing on the gram a little bit too much.
If it was 900 million, you think
Yeah.
it's not a problem?
I think it's actually maybe almost, because that B
is
a line in the
Capital.
sand and saying, like, I think he wants $1 billion. He's doing it. It's $1 billion.
It is $1 billion.
It's $1 billion. So that in and of itself makes people go. It's like that first episode of Billions where they tell Bobby Axelrod, they go, just don't buy the house.
And he's like, I'm buying it.
And he goes, I'm going to buy the house. So I get it. Somebody told him. Somebody went to him and went, hey, don't do it. There's a few billionaires talk, and they're like, hey, man, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. He already owns the most expensive apartment in New York City.
Yeah.
He was the Wall Street Bets guy, right? That they were betting against. Was that him?
He was one of them,
Yeah.
I
He's
believe.
the guy who, I think Citadel owned Robinhood, and he was using the data from Robinhood to make trades at his hedge fund Citadel.
Yeah.
So he was like beating the trades that he was taking. It's kind of a genius fucking thing to do, but
he's a smart guy. But I think a few people were probably like, hey, man, don't do this.
Yeah.
It's $1 billion for a single family house.
Yeah.
That's crazy. On an island where the average price of a house is probably north of 10, 15 million, meaning
Something modest.
these are all very rich people already, and you're being gross.
Yeah.
They're looking at you like you're an asshole.
Yeah.
Do you know how, like, because every time we hang out, you'll tell me a hilarious story of like, these people you've collected in your life.
Yeah.
Like, you have a absolutely mind-boggling friend group.
There's, yes, their minds are boggled.
Yeah. So when you're interacting with some of these people, are they like expecting you to keep it real with them? Are you brought there to be like, no, he's gonna be on?
Never.
Okay.
Never.
What do you mean?
Never, ever.
So you go right along with it all, and
the most fun thing about a lot of people in my life is that they're mentally ill. And many of them.
Is that your comfort zone? Is that
I mean, they're crazy, and my mother was crazy when I grew up. So I would never try to bring a crazy person down to earth. It defeats the purpose. It's not fun. It's actually not fun.
You want
Imagine
the roller coaster.
hanging out with Donald Trump and going like, but you know,
take it off a little.
I mean, maybe that doesn't make sense. It would ruin the whole thing. You're just along for the ride. There's a point when the ride isn't fun anymore, and you've got to get off the ride.
When does that happen?
Well, things can turn dark.
Okay, like what?
You know,
give us something.
You know, people can just like, you know, go from fun crazy to not fun crazy. Where, you know, I have friends that moved down to Florida, and they got very into like, you know, they're very political now. Some of them went really hard right wing. They go to Mar-a-Lago all the time. And their brains have just melted. You know, I'm not a guy that cares what anyone feels politically.
They're drinking the Kool-Aid a little too much.
They're just every conversation.
It's become their entire identity.
Every conversation is politics and like, do you know what's going on?
Always talking about they.
I can't believe it, and you know, and it's just kind of like, guys, there's more to life. You know? There's a little more to life.
Even though they're right.
But right. Well, you know what it is? They're having fun. They're having such a good time. That's why the Capitol riot, it's clearly wrong, but they're having so much fun.
That you
Have
might
you
as
ever
well.
seen?
Are you not going to go in?
They've never had that much fun. They're smiling, they're laughing. They probably, many of them, you know, they don't get out a lot. This is a new experience.
This is all rioting.
It's March Madness. Have you seen an underdog team storm the court after a victory?
Right.
That's January 6th.
Yeah.
You couldn't believe. Wait, we actually got in.
No, they're in. They're having fun. They're taking selfies.
Yeah.
It's also rioting and looting the Apple Store. Like, how fun is that?
But you know what? Here's the issue with that.
Those are black people.
Come
on. It's the skin color.
The left-wing rioters don't look. They don't look like they're having fun.
I beg to differ.
They don't look like they're having fun.
They're scared.
They're in masks and everything. These people in the Capitol are there. They got their feet up on Pelosi's desk.
They got fur.
They've got hats.
Yeah.
It's a parade. Now, I'm not saying it's right. It's not right. It's not good.
Yeah.
But if we're just looking at degree of fun.
White people know how to do it.
They seem like they're having a lot of fun
Marty.
because they believe they're not going to get in trouble.
Why would they?
They go, this is my country. It's my That was their thought process. They're like, this is my country. I'm not doing it in Russia. I'm in America. This is my congresswoman. I can chase her into the bathroom. It's my congresswoman. Why can't I chase her?
We need to have more entitlements.
Yeah. Do you know AOC was at a Matt Rife show?
No way.
She was at Radio
I thought
City.
that was Lisa Ann that got kicked out.
No, it was AOC.
That was AOC? Get out of here.
Yeah, but no, she was at a Matt Rife show.
And how'd it go?
At Radio City.
You think he took that down?
I don't know. Well, she dates some pasty bearded dude.
That's step up.
You know, for sure. But
Yeah.
I think that's part of the leftist cred.
Which is?
Dating a pasty bearded guy.
Dating down.
Dating
Being
a
relatable.
guy who is intellectually exciting to your group.
Oh, see, I would think she needs to go because everything is on like some hierarchy of socioeconomic perception or whatever. So I would think she needs to date like a black dude who transitioned.
No, she's into like
minority enough.
She's minority enough.
Exactly. So now she just dates this guy who rewards her ideas.
Brooklyn Socialist, PBR.
Yes.
That's every comic from 2008 to 2015. That's every comedian that was on television, that was doing a show in Brooklyn, that would get up and do a joke about his parents being racist.
That's bootleg Prince Harry right there.
Yeah.
She's just going through
This guy just finished a set at UCB Gut Bucket.
Right.
Okay, so AOC, I mean, the Democrats basically told her to be quiet, right? She's been real.
Well, they got a real issue with the Israel-Gaza thing, and I think they're just trying to, you know, it's like a company where they're trying to like get everyone on the same page, and it's very difficult.
Yeah.
And they're like, hey, everybody, we could break room. You know, if you've ever worked at a company where they're like, you know, that article came out about us, and you know, we have challenges, but I won't touch the mic again.
Yeah.
We have challenges, but we're gonna overcome them together.
Yeah.
And what we need everybody to do is just, you know, all those things. I'll be like, you know, it's all hands on deck.
Yeah.
You know, we're just all going to give it, you know. So I think that's what the Democrats are doing. They're trying to control
narrative.
Their narrative, and the voting base is kind of fractured big time. They're really fractured.
Yeah.
So I think the whole convention, I said on my show, has to just be songs and no talking. Like
Hillsong. They just got to go Christian church.
Yes. Whatever it is, they have to just do like a big musical review. And then like every time somebody goes, free Palestine, you go, boom. And then they just, you know, people
get
come
into
out,
song.
guitars, drums are going. Because you're not going to get everyone on the same page. You have to distract people from this question.
Here's the thing that I've seen popping up, and I didn't expect this, that now people are attacking Biden for having too much hubris.
Interesting.
You haven't seen this at all? They're like, he refuses to step down. It's his ego, his arrogance. Like, I don't think he wants to be there at all.
No, I think he's a boomer, and he's an old guy. He's maybe even older than a boomer.
He's definitely older than a boomer.
But it's just part of that ethos of like, he doesn't. I don't think he's like half in, half out.
I don't think he's ever done anything.
Yeah, I think he's just kind of there, and I think the wife and the people around him are using him, and I think they don't want to step down. The people that are using
so
Biden,
handlers don't want
the Wizard of Oz behind Biden
is whom
that's making the things go and his hands go. And the puppeteers, they don't want to.
Shitty puppeteer for as much as Biden.
It's not Biden. It's the people behind him that don't want.
But who are they?
These are people that
is that
you know,
DNC?
Well, it maybe is part of the DNC, but I think I think it's a lot of people like Tony Blinken at the State Department, Victoria Nuland at the State Department, the people whose worldview is kind of front and center right now.
Yeah.
And I think those people like the idea that Biden is kind of doing everything they want in the Ukraine and Israel and places like that. And I think
no
they don't
pushback at all.
None.
Yeah,
so I think they don't want.
It's really amazing.
They really don't want to leave the stage, and then the people, of course, behind them don't want them to leave, and all of that.
Okay, so you have him locked in. All right. So then, what happens with the election? You think Biden goes through with it?
I think they yank him in May. I'm going to make a prediction.
Really? Yeah. Give us.
I'm going to make a big prediction right now.
Okay.
And I think they run Michelle Obama as Big Mike.
Big Mike
as a man.
Big Mike is back
as Big Mike because it's
the paddleboard instructor from Martha's Vineyard. Big Mike is back.
Mike is back. It dominates the news. Trump can't get any coverage. He's screaming, he's
Alex is
crying,
squirming.
he's yelling, but because it's a way to, there's only one way.
Drinking a fucking, what is it, a matcha latte?
I mean, I'm just saying you have to do that. You have no.
You got to run Big Mike. She's, oof.
Yeah, you have to do
I did a slip up there. I did a little
have to
slip.
do it.
No, but do you think Big Mike, Al, do you think Big Mike,
Remember the paddle surfer, guys.
that can happen. But do you think that Big Mike could win?
Michael Jordan? What Mike you're
Do you think Michelle Obama?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
She's
I think she, in all seriousness,
absolutely.
I don't think she wants to do it. I think they've approached her multiple times.
Yeah.
I agree.
I don't think she wants to do it.
And they'll just keep killing people around her until she succumbs?
I think.
I mean, they
that-
killed the paddleboarder,
Well,
right?
I think he was. I've always believed.
Yeah, what have you always believed?
I think Obama is probably bisexual. I think the paddleboarder is a really hot, ripped chef. I'm just saying, if I was a ripped paddleboarder and was kind of reportedly writing a book,
Yeah.
that might have been loosely based on
Smoking out your husband.
You know, maybe I
Yeah.
would also drown in 2 feet of water.
2 feet.
outside of my boss's estate, which I was using when he wasn't home, which never.
That's kind
no
of
one
weird that your
ever-
chef would do that. Got to be really close to your
Does
chef.
your maid call you and go, "Can I use the apartment when you're on the road?"
All the time.
Yeah. You go, Consuela, come on in, bring the family. Absolutely, come on in. I'm on the road. I'm in Abu Dhabi. Get in there. It's interesting that he's using the estate when they're not there.
Yeah, peculiar.
And he dies. I'm not saying. I just think maybe sometimes.
If you're going to use the estate and write a book about how you're fucking me, you deserve to die.
Maybe that's what
too
happened.
much.
I don't know.
But isn't that too much?
It might be.
Like if you're going to, well, that's not beard. Beard is when.
Beard is what's the woman who's pretending she's.
Well, they also, if
Right.
you were gonna kill him, wouldn't you wait until he's somewhere else? Like, I'm not gonna kill you anywhere near
They
my
never
property.
do. You'd always think that. They never do.
They don't give a fuck.
It's impulse. It's fun. I think a little bit is you gotta have a little fun.
Yeah.
I really do.
You think they need to spice it up for themselves?
I think they're basically just like, you know.
We'll kill JFK. You think we can
he's
get away with
always
RFK?
And here's the thing. That's where you want to kill him. If they did kill him. You want to kill him in Martha's Vineyard because that's where you live. That's where you know the cops. That's where you have all your friends.
Yeah.
Nobody's around your estate. You know where all the cameras are. You know where everything is. Home court advantage.
Ah,
Right there.
yes.
You get rid of them in a lake. If they did it. I don't know if they did it.
Of course not.
Don't tell me like, well, you're definitively
Somebody's
saying
got
they
to
did
tell
it.
you fucking secrets. There's somebody telling you shit.
But maybe they did it. And if they did it, I don't blame them. I would have done it. And I have no problem with it.
What's your kill list?
Oh my God. I mean, I don't, unfortunately, and it's sad, I don't even have one.
No.
I'm not there yet.
Really?
There's much more I have to do before I get a kill list.
Is there a number?
I don't
you would
have
reach?
real enemies.
Yeah.
A blogger gets mad at something I say and writes a nasty article. That's
Yeah.
that you don't kill that person.
Yeah, and it also comes with like a level of power. You have to
Oh
maintain
my
that power.
God.
Yeah.
Wealth and fame are things we understand in America. We don't really understand power.
Yeah.
And they understand power more in like Russia, countries like that, where it's kind of used like that. But yeah, I think that's the goal. You know, fingers crossed one day. I can kill this.
Okay.
You know?
So, okay.
I'm just at
Is
breakfast
it-
writing it down in ketchup, you know?
Is it in ketchup?
America, you beautiful border blocking, embryo stocking, Swift simping, Putin pimping, Jesus Christ superstars. I want more. Aw, sweetheart, do you want to tell everyone where Daddy's going on tour?
I'm not calling you daddy. It's embarrassing enough.
Sorry, guys. Sometimes she gets a little cranky when she hasn't eaten. Why don't you try that again? Just tell everybody where Daddy's going on tour.
No.
Okay, maybe if I get that schmutz off your face, then you'll be able to help.
No, stop. Okay. I'll tell you, okay. He's going to Vancouver, he's going to Seattle, Vegas, and many more cities. Just check. God!
Hey.
Oh, Andrew, congrats on baby.
Hey, thank you.
How's fatherhood?
It's heavy.
Also, guys, dates. First of all, thank you to Oklahoma City. Sales were dog shit, and then all of a sudden, We sold out at least one show. We almost sold out 2 others. That was fucking so cool, and you guys were so great, and it's honestly a great city. So shouts to Oklahoma City. Now this weekend, I'm going to be in Greensboro, North Carolina, March 1st and 2nd. March 8th and 9th, I'm going to be in Stamford, Connecticut. That's right before something very big is coming that you will find out about soon. Also, Dania Beach. Because of that something, I have to shift dates around. I'm sorry. It will only be March 16th. So we are only doing shows on Saturday. I apologize, but I needed to tell you guys first. April 11th through 13th, I'm going to be in Tempe, Arizona. April 18th through 20th, I'm going to be in Denver, Colorado. May 10th, Los Angeles Improv. Netflix is a joke fest. Sold out the first show. We added a second. Y'all should probably sell that out now. I don't even know if we posted the link, quite frankly. Y'all are still buying tickets, which is fucking cool. Sell out Sing on the motherfucking way if we're lucky. AkashSing.com for tickets. Let's get back to the show.
Is it hypocritical at all? And of course not.
Yeah.
For Americans to be outraged that that this Navalny guy could be clearly killed and act shocked by it, as if we've never murdered in cold blood.
Well, we don't know.
To
What's weird about that? There's no reason for Putin to kill Navalny. This is very interesting.
Okay,
actually,
I have a little conspiracy on this.
Okay.
What if we took him out?
Well, that would make there's so much more of a reason for us to take him out.
Because Putin was looking like a darling in our media.
First of all, Navalny's not that popular in Russia. This is the thing. He's been gone for many, was arrested when he came back to the country. He was in this Arctic prison, this polar wolf prison. He's not in any position to come out and run in an election and defeat Putin.
He's not a threat in any way.
In any way. I'm not saying he wasn't killed. Navalny's also pissed off every oligarch in Russia by flying drones over their house and going, look what they bought. So the list of people that want to get rid of Navalny is a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know what reason Putin had to kill him. That doesn't mean I'm obviously not in the prison, I don't know. But he wasn't a huge threat to Putin. And I don't know if the CIA did it either, but if we did it because the Ukraine aid was stalled and we said, now's go time, we get rid of him, it makes Putin look like a monster. It unites Europe.
Yeah.
We can kind of push this aid package through. It would be
That's what I said.
Cool. I want to know that they're doing cool things.
We used to do cool shit.
We used to do cool
Kill
stuff.
foreign leaders, change governments.
They're not, these people are not crying about Navalny. They don't care.
Yeah.
Navalny was a brave guy, but he was also a guy that started his career writing incredibly negative stuff about Jews and homosexuals.
Don't say.
He was very like Russian nationalist guy. Then the West started getting interested in him.
Yeah.
He changed his tune right away. Starts going, no. Let's stop all of that. And then he started espousing a lot of pro-Western stuff. Great. And he's
a grifter a little bit too.
Well, he wants power. His only plan, his only political philosophy was really like, I want to rule this place. I'm going to be better than that guy. And, maybe he would have. I don't know. But
what'd you think of, why would Putin even do the Tucker interview? What's the chess move there? To me, it felt a little desperate.
No, I think it actually comes from a position of strength. He got an incredibly popular American journalist to not only come to Moscow and let him talk for 2 hours where he dominated the entire interview. Dominated it. And then Tucker went around Moscow making YouTube videos.
That was the corniest shit I've ever seen in my life.
Stuff ever. But here's the other thing.
Look how cheap Cheerios are here.
Yeah, it's weird to be a 50-year-old YouTuber in
glazing
Moscow.
Glazing.
He's
Moscow.
making Nelk Boy style videos in a grocery store, being like, "Look what I could get this sturgeon for."
Also, small pushback on very powerful journalists. My feeling is he still has power for sure, but he's been a little bit ostracized, excommunicated.
I mean, he's been ostracized for sure, but I do think that if we want to talk about getting attention, Tucker's name still.
No, he's killing attention,
he
but
gets attention.
He would be the only person that they could get, that Putin could get.
No, they would. He's the only person they would allow. Putin's not gonna do. I think Putin.
Megyn Kelly, I think, was the last one from traditional media.
I mean, I think Putin's only served if he, brings in somebody who's kind of more open to his worldview than somebody who's gonna joust with him.
Yes.
So I think it was kind of a smart move. And if you watch the whole interview, Putin doesn't care about, this is very interesting, doesn't seem to care about Tucker's viewers, doesn't go into like trans bathrooms, because that's what Tucker's viewers want. Putin goes, I don't care. I'm going to talk about the 1300s.
Yeah.
I don't care about you. I don't care about your question.
I'm getting my message off.
Prince Oleg.
Yeah.
Like Tucker's viewers were like, talk about the bathrooms. I can't go in it. They're women, but they're men, but they're women.
Yeah.
Putin goes, no. Prince like Prince Oleg was baptized.
Yeah.
And people going, what the hell's going on?
Yeah.
It's a total power move to bring somebody over and go, I don't care about your questions. I don't care about your viewers.
Yeah.
I'm just going to go.
But can a power move be made from a position of weakness, I think is what we were asking. Like, you're going to grab this guy that you can bully and do the power move on because you're weak.
Why is Putin weak, though? He's winning the Ukraine war.
Barely.
The sanctions.
It's the third overtime.
It should have been over.
It's the third. He's one of the powerful countries
He's got
in the world.
200 nuclear weapons. Putin doesn't want to destroy the entire country of the Ukraine. He went in there with not a ton of troops.
Yeah.
Putin never wanted the Ukraine.
I think he wants a deal, and I think he's really trying to get
He wants a deal. The U.S. is telling Ukraine not to negotiate. We're the ones that telling them we don't want a deal. We're fighting a proxy war with Russia through the Ukraine. We keep telling Zelensky no deal. There could have been a deal before the invasion. There could have been a deal with the Minsk Accords, which we told Zelensky.
But the powers that be are getting paid. That's the thing that, like, I think a lot of people don't realize is that when we're giving money to Ukraine, we're not giving money to them.
No, it's a viral marketing campaign for for General Dynamics.
Yes,
right.
But explain that to them. That's like, because you see all these articles, and they're like, can you believe it? They're starving Americans here. We're giving money
NATO,
to.
They sign on a paper saying all of our weapons purchases are to be from these NATO-approved contracts,
which just happened to be
all of Lockheed and General Dynamics and all this stuff.
Yeah, Raytheon.
And essentially, they're like, we're going to put Ukraine in NATO. It's coming. And Putin's like, you're not putting NATO missiles on the border of Russia. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Russia's been invaded through the Ukraine multiple times.
Yeah.
Russia's been invaded multiple times in its history. Putin's like, it's not going to happen. If you do that, that is the line in the sand. That is the red line.
Yeah.
And that's why we have a war. Now, it's obviously, it's not right. It's a war of aggression. People are dying. It's sad. But the United States fully instigated this war and fully wants it and is enjoying it.
So we're back to what we do well.
We're doing it well.
Yeah, that's why. Like, why do we have to tuck our cocks between our legs? Like, fighting whites.
They're white.
We stopped with the brown on brown.
Yes. No, we got.
This is good.
And
then Tucker's going in there fucking it all up.
I don't think he's fucking it up. I think he's making it interesting. I think we get
making
bored.
a mockery.
I think it's boring, and I think it's like we all check out. Remember when that guy?
He's spicing it back up.
Yeah, because it gets boring.
Yeah, we did move on.
We started to watch Israel and Gaza because that came on Netflix.
And we're like, ooh,
we go,
that's the new shit.
Oh, this is interesting.
And that game was way better.
And then, but
it's like when Real Housewives of New Jersey brought back Danielle.
You need Danielle.
Danielle is going to spice it up. Danielle is great.
Yeah.
She's energy. It's an amazing.
You need to bring in a villain so people can get excited again.
Yes.
And I think that's part of what we
need
to do.
Is Tucker a pawn? Is the
know if he's
State
a
Department
pawn.
telling Tucker, hey, go over there, tell him about the groceries?
No, but I mean, he's allowed to do it. He's not suffering any consequences, nor should he. I mean, it's a free speech thing, but like, I think it serves everybody's purposes. He gets views, he gets clicks, people get interested and excited. Putin gets to get his message out. A bit boring.
Ugh.
He's not exactly fun.
Oh my God.
But it's interesting. If you listen to him, you go, oh, this is interesting.
I mean, was it?
I couldn't do it.
I like when he trolled Tucker and he was like, the CIA, an institution you tried to get in.
That was good. He was ready.
Putin's basically saying, I only respect people that are coming here to kill me. I only respect power. The media to me means nothing. I don't care. We own it in Russia. You're a journalist. That means nothing to me. Even if you agree with me, I would respect you if you were coming here to poison me. Because that's my people. That's what we do.
Yeah.
And when he said, they were always our enemies, he smiled a little bit. CIA goes, they were always our enemies.
Yeah.
But he goes, a job is a job. What he's basically saying is like, I respect them because that's the game.
He was like, they blew up the Nord Stream pipe. And he was like, they did a good job.
Yeah, that's the game.
You know what's fascinating is do you watch these things more than once? Because you analyze this the way
I do.
Guys analyze all 22 after a football game.
Yeah. I watched that. I watched that interview 3 times.
Yeah, because you're picking up on shit that I'm like, I did not.
I just found it really interesting because that's the longest. Putin, by the way, he gives speeches like this all the time in Russia, and they're incredibly boring. He talks about agriculture, production in a province of Russia.
Yeah.
It's incredibly boring. People that live in Russia know that.
Yeah.
They'll be like, the greatest speech, the speech to end all speeches. And then it's Putin just going on kind of about some pretty like generic, vague crap.
Yeah.
But this was like, he's in his element, talking for 2 hours about this war that we have a very skewed picture of, I think.
Do you think his health is better?
I think he looks great. I think we keep writing articles.
What if he's a
dying
heart
in
attack,
bed.
a cancer, his
I think
pancreas?
it's all a lie. I think it's all a lie. I think he's fine. He looks great. Compare him to our guy. Hold on. Who would you want?
Yeah, no,
you
our
know?
guy looks better.
Okay, there's a migrant crisis. Tim.
Yeah.
Now, it is my understanding that all of your homes, many of which that you have, congratulations, you've had immense success.
We have,
well deserved.
It's fine. It's some. I'm in the middle class.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
I'm in the middle class.
He's
I've
getting
seen the
squeezed
homes.
out.
Very middle class. Very middle class.
They are though. You know.
Yeah.
They are.
Yeah.
When you say that, you mean you're not a Rothschild yet?
Well, for sure that, but even in like the world of that I live, I mean, I'm not so out of touch, right? I'm not saying it's the middle class, but it's like, you live in Manhattan, you're never rich. Do you know what I mean?
You just have
It's hard
so
to-
many people that are so much more wealthy around you.
That's right.
That is a
One
thing
of them
that's
sitting next to me.
Yeah, that's a lie. But that is an interesting thing that that is about living in the city. Is that I think
He has to
you
share his
feel
money with us, fucking loser.
No. I think you feel comfortable talking about money because you are so much poorer than the guy who lives across the street, down the block. Like you're constantly put in front of people.
And I think that's good because you shouldn't ever be at the top of anything.
Yeah, it's humbling, but it's also like you might speak about something, not you, we might speak about something that looks as if it's bragging, but it's so far beneath where you know it can go.
Right.
That it doesn't feel in any way like you're bragging.
Yeah, there's also like, there's generational money in places like New York where you're like, oh, I could never have.
They can't spend it.
They can't spend
Oh,
it.
that's
and they
what-
can't earn it in one lifetime. It's just there forever.
They're just the custodian of the money.
But they kind of, a lot of those people, their lives kind of lack something that ours have. There are no
purpose
stakes in their life.
Yeah.
They kind of float around. They're never intense.
Okay, so this is the thing that I want to ask you about.
Yeah.
There's like these legacy families that have existed throughout history. Rothschilds is one of them.
Sure.
Obviously, Rockefellers, Vanderbilts, right?
Yeah.
Some of these families maintain the wealth for fucking generations, maybe hundreds of years.
Yeah.
Some of them within a few generations fall apart.
Yeah.
And why is that?
Kids.
But they all have kids.
I know, but some are better than others.
So some have a culture that like is
well,
very
look at the Vanderbilts.
strict.
The Vanderbilts, they're the last one is Anderson Cooper.
So the Vanderbilts made their money in
railroads. I mean, he was a shipping magnate first.
Okay.
And then he got into railroads. They called him the Commodore. He was a big, ships going from Brooklyn to New York, back and forth.
Is Vanderbilt the one that has the home in Rhode Island?
They have the Biltmore in
insane
North Carolina.
Yeah, they had all these amazing things, but you got to have lots of kids, and the kids have to continue the business in some respect. A lot of families squander money, and a lot of kids just they suck, right? They're not.
So that's
they live
what I'm
off
trying to
the
understand
money.
is like how do you maintain. Like who is like with the royal family, for example? There's probably a team, a deep state, if you will, that is built to maintain the family despite how retarded the family is.
So it's interesting is you go down to Palm Beach, right? You drive around like Worth Avenue in Palm Beach, and before you get down there, you see all these family offices. You'll see like this trust and that trust and the Chilton Trust and this trust, and those are family offices. You have one office dedicated to managing the wealth of one family. So that is something that.
So even if the kids are fuck ups, the trust is built in a way
that's correct.
to be fuck up proof.
That's right.
So they go have kids. But some of these families, the kids aren't fuck ups and they continue to do good shit. And I'm like, how do you instill the productive values in the kids?
It's hard.
Yeah, so they just don't squander everything. And who does it the best?
And do you just need one good kid every couple of generations?
That's a good point too. Like,
does every kid have to have the culture?
Well,
Because
the industry's changed, right? So the other important thing is the industry's changed, right? So much of the largest consolidation of wealth in human history is in Northern California right now. It's a $9 trillion market cap, and it's because every big tech company that we know about is sitting somewhere between, San Francisco and Palo Alto. That's where a huge amount of money is being generated right now, right? So if you're in an industry that is, can be, modernized and can evolve and can still make money, you're great. If you're in there are like heiresses and people that, their family owned a stationery company, right? They owned a paper company, right? And all of a sudden, we all, you know.
That's all the West Virginia, like there's these like mansions and shit in West Virginia because of the coal industry.
Right.
Yeah.
So it really depends on like where you made your money. Did you diversify? Did you get into human trafficking, narco trafficking, drug trafficking, political assassinations, flipping elections, working with the CIA, working with the Mossad, working with MI6? You know, did you get into that stuff? Did you blackmail people? Did you kill them? Did you blow up their cars? Did you visit South American capitals, get into the drug trade, get into the drug game, make friends? You know what I mean?
Fruit company.
Did you do that, or did you just sit around at Yale and jerk off? What did you do? What did you do with it?
That was magnificent. That was magnificent. That was a wonderful.
You gotta work.
So what happens? They make all the money and then they go, okay, there's a limit to what I can do with all this fucking money because these politicians, I might as well be a politician or maybe make my kid a politician.
Well, I always tell the story of like, there's this fun representative and I like her because she's a little chubby and she beats up her husband.
Oh.
And Katie Porter, she's in Orange County, California.
Okay.
Katie Porter is a Democrat congresswoman from Orange County who physically abuses her husband. And she's the one with the whiteboard. If you've ever seen this, she brings Jamie Dimon from Chase Manhattan. He'll come in.
Okay.
And she goes, can I ask you a question, Mr. Diamond? And she breaks down his salary and how much he earns. And then she breaks down the salary of like a teller.
The same way she breaks down her husband.
Here she goes. This is what she's famous about, right?
Wow.
She throws a couple of cookies down the hatch. And then she goes in, as I've done. There's a couple of cookies. So this is a character I do, by the way. This isn't me. This is a character. She goes in and she goes, hey, you're fucking everyone over. And she does it on a whiteboard. She goes, here's how you're screwing everyone over. And they all take it. They all take it. It's a show. It's fun. It goes on Twitter. It goes on YouTube. It means nothing. It does nothing. They get in their chat. Jamie Dimon looks at somebody and goes, can we kill her? Can we do something? Can we experiment with like an exploding cookie or something? How do we get her? You know? It's a show. They know that this is never going to impact them because at the end of the day, this is more of a show. They come in for a public scolding.
This is like give the people their pound of flesh, and then we get to continue to hoard wealth, and pillage, and everything.
I'll take it. Everybody goes, oh, he got fucking demolished.
You'll talk about, you'll talk about like the White House roast or whatever, where the president is like, yo, you have to come eat these jokes. For them, it's like, you have to come eat this shit, and we all feel a little bit better, and then you can go and continue to plunder.
Because we don't really want change.
We
just want to see them be publicly
We just want a mom. She's a mom. It's mom energy. She's up there being like, you know.
Yeah, you scolded that rich guy.
You lied to me. You had the party. I said you shouldn't have a party. You said it was going to be 4 people, but you know what it was? It wasn't 4 people. And then you stole $3 billion.
We feel like he's not getting away with it, and then he'll continue to get away with it.
And then, and then you go, Mom, I'm really sorry. It's like hard. It's like hard to be a kid. It's like hard. Like other people from other schools are coming. I just want them to like me, and it's very hard. I don't understand. You don't get it. You know, Dad's never around. And she's like, well, none of that's an excuse. You go, I know, Mom, but I'm doing the best I can. And she's like, fine. And then she's like, all right, here's a couple $100. You know, go on the ski trip. All it is. It's a fun.
So Zuckerberg got to show up for that shit.
He's got to show up and get spanked.
Everybody got to get spanked.
He's got to get spanked, and then he goes back into the cryo chamber, the jiu-jitsu mountain he's on. So they show up, and they send Big Mama out. Big Mama comes in. Big Mama comes in, and she gives everybody a spank and goes right to the whiteboard. She goes right to the whiteboard. And by the way, this is what Russia hasn't figured out. Putin should just sit down. They bring out Big Mama. She draws Navalny on the whiteboard. She goes, what did you do? And he just sheepishly sits there.
That's true.
And Russia is an old society. They have not figured out stagecraft in the way that America has. We have these really fun, brilliant, Hollywood-style ways to make people feel like things are changing. Russia doesn't do any of that. They just blow up planes and kill people. It's old school. They just don't understand. There's a bunch of guys in a room. They go, what are we gonna do? And we're like, we got an Orange County mom. She spanks everybody, and then we keep the party going. In Russia, they don't have that. Russia, they can't bring in some woman from Minsk who's like, oh, they go, let's blow the plane up. Just blow the plane. Get the poison. We have all this poison. Just poison.
Does she know
I
she's
have
an
to pee,
actor in
excuse
the
me.
theater?
No, she thinks she's doing a great job.
Yeah.
You don't think she knows?
No, she thinks
Yeah,
she's
this is the
doing a
beautiful
great job.
thing.
No, this is the beauty of it all.
Yeah.
This is the beauty of
Everybody
it all.
thinks they're a hero.
Everyone thinks they're a hero.
Jamie's a hero for getting spanked.
Yeah.
She's a hero for
She's a
doing
hero.
things. It's
Everybody's a
amazing.
hero. She comes in. She gets up. She has her egg white omelet. She's only lying to herself.
Yeah.
She gets in the minivan. Goes over to Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
She gets in there, you know what I mean? Has a keto, one of those, those keto peanut butter cups. She goes, well, it's actually, my body's running on. So she comes in, she sits down, and then this is like, it's go time.
Yeah.
The cameras are on her, and she's ready. And it's a beautiful thing to watch, and it means nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing ever happens.
Yeah.
And like, literally they'll pass a law where they're like, you're evicting someone in 60 days, you're giving them 65. You're giving them 5 extra days before the sheriffs go in there. That's like the most that ever happens.
Slow clap.
It's like if Bernie Sanders, everyone's like, if Bernie Sanders would have been elected, he would have fought for 4 years. He would have gone up there, all the speeches. Yeah. At the end, he would have gotten like free community college for a year. That's all he would have got, and it would have been like a big victory. Everybody would have been like, wow, this is amazing. And he'd go, you have the right to go to community college. Now that regular college means nothing, you have the right to go to community college for 1 year for free. And that's like, it's a brilliant, the way it's all set up. It's kind of, you got to watch it and you got to go, this is fun.
Yes, it's theater. And we need the theater.
We need the theater. Russia doesn't have it. A lot of countries don't have it.
What is it? The exhaust or whatever. You got to let the.
Yeah, you got to burn off the fumes.
You got to burn off the fumes, and we need that. We're
People
angry.
get mad. They get angry. They go, these banks. We know they're screwing us
stealing my
over.
money. They're
taking
raising
the
my
money.
mortgage.
I can't believe this. And then they're like, but let's see what Big Mama says. And
Big Mama
she just lays
delivers,
it out,
doesn't she?
Yeah.
She just lays it out. She's been real peep on Israel, though. She's not.
Okay, we got to put a pause to this conversation about global domination, power, and greed.
Yes.
Okay, because the good people at home need some takes, to be honest. They need some picks.
Yeah.
I think you've been doing really well. You've been smoking them.
Yeah, they need greed as well. We should all capitalize on some
You
greed.
know what?
Let's
We're
all
going to
make some money.
continue the greed conversation. What do we got going on
I
right
got
now?
safe picks on Prize Picks. I'm playing it safe because Prize Picks has the green goblin, which is it's like a very easy thing to hit. Multiplier not quite as high, but it's very safe. It's like a mutual fund in the stock market. All right. So I got Kyrie Irving more than 19.5 points. That seems like a fucking lock.
Yeah.
I got Steph Curry more than 3.5 assists. That's a sing 1,000% lock, not even a question.
Yeah.
And then they're offering a discount right now. Donovan Mitchell more than 21.5 points. Normally it's like 27, 26. They went down. There's not even like a multiplier on that. That's just something they're giving you. You know what I mean? So those are your Prize Picks. Promo code Schultz. They'll match your initial deposit up to $100. So you put in 100 to get 100 for free.
Yeah, that's fire.
That seems like a fucking no-brainer.
Yeah, that's fire. What else happened in sports right now?
You know what I'm excited about? There's a couple weeks that suck after the NFL season ends.
Yeah.
But then once the atrociousness that is NBA All-Star Weekend is over,
We get to get into
now
the good
it's
stuff.
real basketball.
Yeah, now you're getting up for the playoffs, and the guys are actually playing, and we're looking at what seeds are going to be in. This is going to be good.
And if you're at home with baby Shiloh, next season, y'all are looking promising. So
yeah,
you
it's kind of
have
crazy.
something to do.
It is kind of crazy. I can't even believe it. I don't want to even attach myself to it.
What
because
sucks is as you get busier, you get less time for sports. But the good thing about being with her right now, you have all the time for sports.
Oh, yeah,
and the Knicks are actually good.
Such a great excuse also when you take like your newborn to a game because you look like the best dad, but you're really just selfishly going to a game and blowing your kid's eardrums out.
Yeah.
So,
but you put the headphones on.
Exactly.
So you
Look
really
how
good
adorable he is,
Yeah.
making her a Knicks fan. No, I would be doing that for me. I just want to let you know.
Yes.
That will be for me when that happens.
But
Okay?
you should do it.
Yeah, right. I should.
You should. You deserve it, dude. You worked hard.
Son, we did.
You know what I mean?
We did. I mean, I did all the work, really,
Yeah, you
when you
really
think
did.
about it. I really did everything to make that big.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Shout out to wives, yo.
Yeah.
Shout out to wives. Anyway, what else we got? Anything else?
Man, that's it. Football season, dry, so you got to find the new thing. Right now, it's NBA. That's the move.
All right, we
NBA.
locked in to
Focus.
NBA.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Let's get rid of them floors. Get rid of them goofy ass floors.
That's all done too.
Oh, thank
All-Star
God.
game is gone. The play-in season tournament is gone. Now it's real high-stakes basketball.
Back to basketball. Let's have some
go.
fun. Yeah.
Absolutely. You know who I would actually love to talk to? Did you see when JJ Redick called out Doc Rivers?
Oh, yeah.
So Doc is a guy that I don't know, something about him always just felt weird to me. And then he goes to coach the Bucks, gets their head coach gets fired mid-season.
Yeah.
He gets $40 million a year, and then he keeps being like, yeah, you know, we're gonna suck for a while. The guys aren't playing hard, and it's like, buddy, you're making $40 million a year.
Yeah.
And then JJ Redick is like, there's never any accountability with this guy. He's always blaming someone else.
Yeah.
And JJ Redick played for him.
Ex-coach.
So this is like a very personal thing. I would love to. He's the fucking best.
Yo, JJ don't give a fuck.
He's the best. And he's on
JJ does not
ESPN.
give a fuck. Yeah, I like that. We gotta have JJ on.
Yeah,
We gotta
absolutely.
bring JJ on the pod.
Yeah,
that's
1000%.
gonna be. Yeah, that'll be fun. He'd be a good person to get some perspective on the league. Also, I want to learn about like the Duke days. Like,
yeah, and it's cool to see the transformation from like this kid that
he was
everyone hated.
Yeah.
And now he's just like this fucking very calm, cool dad that's like very thoughtful in everything he says,
Yeah.
even if it's a hot take.
Yeah.
It's well thought out. He's great. Maybe the best in basketball right now with no Van Gundy.
yeah, we might have to have JJ on.
Yeah.
We got to talk about how pale he was at Duke. Like, it was almost like he was leaning into being
Yeah, I feel
white.
like Duke wanted him to be that. It was like, don't go out in the sun.
Yeah.
we got,
we
got merch to move.
All right, let's get back to the show, man, with Tim Dillon. Peace. Who is peep on Israel and who is not?
The squad, those people are
I feel like
very
the squad
vocal.
barely says anything anymore.
Well, one does. The Rashida Tlaib, because she's Palestinian.
So she got it.
She has to.
She's got to pop off.
Yeah.
She's the Macklemore of our, you know what I mean? Because he's also popping off. How about the guy that lit himself on?
Oh, yeah.
I just heard about this.
Lit himself
Yeah?
on fire, said free
What
Palestine.
The
was a
guy
soldier, right?
outside of the Israeli embassy lit himself on fire to protest the war. And which my whole point is, they don't care about that. That's what they're doing.
Are you sure he lit himself on fire?
Yeah, he lit himself on fire. And Israel's like, you saved us time. And thank you. They were like, this is a real cost-effective way.
crazy.
This is a protest. He lit himself on fire.
This is an U.S. Air Force soldier, right?
It's a self-immolation. And what he was doing, this is an old school way of protest where you light yourself on fire to protest something that you do not like. And this person...
This is Eastern philosophy.
This is very... I don't know whose philosophy this is.
Rage Against the Machine.
It is Eastern.
Isn't it?
A Tibetan
Didn't the
guy
monks
did this.
do it or something?
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. There was a guy who did it to protest some type of. You're right. It was an Asian person.
Did they put him out or did he die?
No, he died. I think.
Oh, they
They put him out, but he succumbed to his injuries in the hospital. And let's just be very honest here.
Yes.
In terms of pure stagecraft, I like this.
Talk to us.
I like it because.
I like it because,
first of all, it's new. I like the focus on one person. All these protests, there's so many people in the streets, it gets lost, right?
Yeah.
This is really going back to the old school, one person.
Tim's just watching a play.
One can of gas, one person in front of the thing. And it's just your eyes are trained right on him.
Yeah.
The message doesn't get muddled. It's free Palestine.
Yeah.
Because in the big protests, you know what happens.
What happens?
People show up with the oak tag and they're talking about 9 other things.
That's true.
That's right.
It's distracting.
He's yelling only 2 words as he burns himself to death. Tragedy, yes, not good. I didn't do it. I didn't put anyone in a tunnel. I didn't do anything. The point is, I didn't do anything. So people are mad at me right now. Look at yourselves. I did nothing. I'm just, as a protest, I'm more into this than I am into the march.
The marches, you're over the marches.
Yeah. I'm just over it. But this is new.
Yeah.
This is new.
This is real sacrifice.
Yeah.
It's real sacrifice.
Just
it's
getting your
hot.
10,000
The
steps.
kids love it. It's trending. It's
Kids
on
love it.
TikTok. It's killing on X. It's engagement. It's followers. It's likes. It's clicks.
This should be a new TikTok channel.
This is big.
Yeah.
And
Go
it's
cry about it.
Go cry about it, as the VIP list bitches would say. But no, this is, as a marketing thing, this is done very well for him.
Very well.
Now, he's not here to see it.
It's unfortunate.
But this is a great marketing move.
Yeah. All
This
great
is a
artists,
mark.
so.
You want to talk about a promo? Bert Kreischer, eat your heart out. That is a promo.
Do we need-
That is a promo. This guy is wild. And Bert does the best comedy promos, I think, in the game, but this guy has elevated it to another level.
Yeah,
Imagine if he was selling tickets.
Oh, they're gone.
Imagine if he's announcing a tour.
Yes.
That's the real game. put it out after a minute or two.
Yeah.
Put it out and put the dates on.
Yeah.
Just roll the dates.
I like it. I like it.
You don't want to. You're wasting virality for nothing. They're not going to stop the war. They don't care that you burned your kids.
Yeah.
They don't care. You can't think they're going to care.
How do you get them to stop the war?
You don't.
There's no way?
Well,
you couldn't figure it out?
I think they have to have some. America hasn't got the power to make Israel stop the war.
Whoa.
We
Hot
don't
take.
We don't have the power.
Hot
don't.
take.
No, I mean,
what does that mean? Are you trying to say?
No, they have a military. They have money.
But if the whole UN votes for a ceasefire and the U.S. raises their hand as well, then what? Israel says, "Fuck y'all."
Well, yes, but also we're not doing that. We're not doing that. The best you're going to get is for Biden to say this deal, this hostage release deal,
You got to accept it
before you attack the Rafah where all the civilians are. I think the damage has been done.
Yeah.
There will never be a two-state solution now. It is a thing that has made the region less safe. And I'm not even putting this all on Israel, obviously, but like this is just, you know, I think 80% of Gaza is now uninhabitable. You know, I don't know how it goes back to anything that we understand. I think it moves forward in a way that has to be Arab countries like Saudi Arabia and the United States.
They've got to police it.
They have to rebuild it.
Yeah.
They have to kick in a lot of money. But this is not going to get somebody to stop the war. And I have a ton of sympathy for innocent people in Gaza dying that had nothing to do with this, that have been also crushed under Hamas.
Yeah.
The loss of life is absolutely staggering. I think Israel had a 9/11 moment where they went a little overboard. I think we went a little overboard for sure.
Yeah.
After 9/11, I think we did things that were unwise and ultimately made us less safe.
What was the right amount of people we should have killed after?
Yeah, a little overboard is a very
because I hear people saying that they're like, it's too many babies killed, and it's like, well, what's the right amount?
There's no way to say it. Like language doesn't work when you're talking about thousands of people dying. Right? So if I say a little overboard, it sounds like I'm being callous about it. But the other problem is if I say like it was a genocide, then that has this political connotation that they're targeting. So then it's like, then you can't have a discussion about how to end anything.
Because people are going to lock it.
Because people just go nuts about words where it's like, no, the goal, just like Trump was right when they said, what's the goal in the Ukraine war? He's like, no more dying.
No more dying.
No more war.
How do we get to no more dying?
And then she's like, what do you mean? And he's like, well, I don't want anyone to die anymore. We should stop the war. And she's like, but do you want? And it's like, no. My goal, everyone's goal, because I'm an Irish Catholic from Long Island who grew up with this was not a meaningful thing for my family. It's not like my mother came home and was like, Israel, like we just weren't, you know, I'm not as super educated about the issue either. I don't pretend to be. I just know that we can't see levels of destruction like this in the modern world. When you're looking at your phone and you're seeing children displaced and families displaced and no hospitals and those, it's not going to work. And I think ultimately it makes Israel less safe and it diminishes their credibility internationally, a reaction like this. Yeah. That doesn't mean that they shouldn't have responded. They needed to respond. They absolutely had to respond. It was an attack on Israel from Hamas. It was an act of war. You also respond with an act of war. Completely understandable.
Violence begets violence.
Violence begets violence. At some point in any conflict, you have to figure out how to end the conflict.
Do you think that the countries in the Middle East are in some ways complicit with what's happening? Like they almost kind of want terrorism wiped out so they can get some Western dollars in there? It feels like everybody's ready to let capitalism run wild.
Well, Iran has always been...
Outside of Iran.
They've always been kind of an agitator in that region. They don't really get along with Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia and Israel actually had like kind of
kind of boys. UAE, Israel's good. Egypt, Israel's good. Jordan, Israel's good.
But I think this has strained a lot of those relationships too, because the citizens in those countries are like, this is...
The citizens, I think, are furious, but I wonder if the governments are like, hey, listen, we need no terrorism over here. We can't have random bombings. I don't want any of this political unrest. If you got to go in there and wipe it clean...
I was the one who very bravely...
What did you do?
You want to hear this?
Yeah, you lit a guy on fire outside of an Israeli embassy.
When they were trying to kick the heads of Hamas out of the Four Seasons Doha, Qatar, I said no. Because I believe in brand loyalty as a concept.
Yeah. Yeah.
They had lived in the Four Seasons for a very long time. First of all, there's not a lot of great chains in hotels in the world. There are not.
Yeah. Yeah.
There are not.
Yeah.
I've stayed in a lot.
Yeah.
And I'm saying I disagree with what Hamas did,
But
making them stay at a lesser hotel is not going to make them less angry.
Yeah.
It's going to piss them off even
butter
more.
them up.
I said leave them in the Four Seasons. In fact, make it nicer.
Bring them to an Amman.
Bring them to an Amman.
The war's over.
Let's get it really
The war's over.
But if they're in a Marriott,
yeah.
Spa day. No, we don't want
It's
to
going to be carnage in a Marriott.
But it is funny because these are the things in the modern world, why all of this stuff is crazy. It's insane is because that's a news story. Should the leaders of Hamas get kicked out of the Four Seasons?
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah.
It's an insane news story.
Why is
That
there
was
not
a
more
news story.
pressure on the Four
Because
Seasons
of
for that?
The breakfast is amazing. No, this is phenomenal breakfast.
They sell their sheets and pillows.
Yeah, well, here's the problem. We all, for example, the Beverly Hills Hotel is owned by people who throw gay people off the roof, right? Now,
is it?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Who's
Yes.
it owned by?
Sultan Brunei, Dorchester Group.
And they throw gay people off the roofs.
They have.
Not at the Beverly Hills.
No, yeah, not at that
They've got
hotel.
some
Hills
kill
Hotel.
half the
It's not even
clientele.
high enough.
Where they're from.
We'll just break a leg.
Yeah.
I've tried. No. So where they're from, it's not good. It's
Yeah.
not good. The progressive values aren't good.
Yeah.
But if I have to have lunch at the Waldorf, I will throw myself off the roof.
That's a good point.
You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
If I have to have the chicken salad at the Waldorf, I will throw myself off the roof. Yeah.
But owned by big Jews who
I
will
know,
allow
I
you
know.
to do
They
that.
share the values, but it's not as good. The eggs are not as good.
Yeah.
So we all have to decide which horrors we want to participate in and for what reason.
Yeah.
That's part of modern life. Sorry. I know there's a lot of NYU students that are unhappy. Go cry about it.
What do Americans still own?
I mean, very little, right? A lot of our cultural properties are kind of diminishing. We still kill music. You do a lot of great stuff in your show about music. The world is our music, right? That's always something that we still have. War.
We're good at war.
Oh, baby.
Yeah.
Tech. We're doing good.
Yeah.
You know, our financial sector is pretty big. We've got some stuff.
I'm talking about in terms of properties. Like it seems like so many of these traditional American properties and British properties too are owned by countries.
We got a lot of people coming in. A lot of people. London is a clearance sale for the Middle East.
Qataris on London.
The United States, New York City is the same. You know, I mean, because a lot of these people want to diversify. That's why it's all funny. It's like, you know, Navalny does all these videos where he's like, look at all the corruption in Russia, all these oligarchs, they own all these houses. And we're like, yeah, go Navalny, go. You know where else they own property? Here in our cities. Yeah. And you know what we say when people say, well, we should stop S-corps from buying real estate. Yeah. And we should limit the amount of foreign ownership. You know, we all say no. So it's just very funny, like, we're like, he's exposing the corruption, but we're really happy to take the dollars of oligarchs and, you know,
Dude, we took them twice.
Here.
All the oligarchs' assets got seized once the war started.
Yeah, which I was against. It's against. It's not right. It's not right. It's not easy to get a yacht.
My real estate.
It's not easy to run a fertilizer company for 30 years. Okay, that you won in some struggle where you had to kill 9 people outside of a cafe in Prague. Okay, and you had to hide in a car, and you don't tell anyone about that. And now you know you've got 30 years, and you know it's like you have this yacht, and you've named it after the guy you watched die.
Wait, who is this?
No, I'm just making.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the.
Hopefully someone out there is listening. Going, this is interesting. But no, at the end of the day, it's like, and now you have a yacht, and then Putin invades Ukraine, and now you got to give up your yacht, bro.
That you killed people
fucked.
You killed people for that yacht.
Yeah.
Most yachts people die for.
Anyway, they seized all these assets that the oligarchs owned in New York, and I have a buddy in real estate, and him and his buddies were already looking at the ownership of Russian assets in New York.
Yeah.
And so that they could undercut them by 50%.
Yeah.
Trying to buy it.
Of
So they sell it to the oligarch.
Yeah.
Buy it back at half off again.
Yeah. And there's all these great stories about how they got around a lot of the sanctions. The sanctions really didn't, impact the Russian economy the way we thought it would. There's a great story that actually came out about Nikolai Patrushev, who is the head of Putin's security services. He used to be the head of the FSB, their intelligence agency. He's like Putin's main guy, maybe the successor to Putin. His son, his best friend, is like this guy that works in a Norway energy company. And even though Norway, you know, all these countries sanctioned Russia, they're just doing backdoor deals.
Oh, I saw the oil tankers going through the Bosphorus in Turkey, and they just have no labels on them at all. There's just these random.
There's ways around it. There's
yeah.
ways around it.
Do we have
It's a long game. We
That's
need
the thing.
enemies. We need enemies.
Yeah.
It's a long game.
Especially when your business
That's
is
what Russia was. We're never
bombs.
going to put them into NATO. We never got them into our thing because we need an enemy.
Why didn't we bring them in after World War II?
Because we need an enemy.
But we needed an enemy immediately, or they also wanted an enemy?
Well, I think it's good for everyone to have an enemy because it's very good for Russia to talk about the great, you know, the Satan of America, and it's great for America
because that galvanizes
to
the
talk
people.
About, yes.
You need a common enemy that everybody.
Otherwise, people start listening to Big Mama.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
They start listening to Big Mama. Half the people that are listening to Big Mama, you have to go, Putin's Satan, stop listening to Big Mama.
Oh, fuck. So that's the issue when you don't. So that's the issue when you don't have an enemy that everybody's afraid of, you just fight each other.
Yeah. And then Putin gets out and goes, America's going to come in here. They want unisex bathrooms. They want your family to be forced into gay porn production and all this stuff.
So one enemy is just way more effective when it comes to running a country. It's way easier to be 2 or 3.
Yeah, you need a Batman villain. You need an enemy. You need somebody to get your, because otherwise people start going, hey, what's going on here?
Yeah, stop asking questions.
Yeah, stop asking questions.
So now they got to make us fight with each other because there's no one we're really afraid of.
If there's no Joker, you start looking at the Batman like, dude, you're a fucking psychopath.
Yeah,
You just go in a cave
dude, why
and
are you in this cave?
Because we're not afraid, we're not afraid of Russia, really. Americans, maybe a little bit China. We fake care about the migrant crisis. There's nothing that really is concerning us.
Yeah, I mean, so that's why they're trying to get us to be really afraid of Russia. It's not really working.
Nah.
It's not working. They're trying. And then China, we know it's there. We know it's looming.
Yeah.
But it's not imminent.
It also doesn't feel like they want the smoke that bad. Like they want to beat us maybe economically, but they're not like, I want to blow you up.
China is much more, they can play the long game.
Yeah.
In terms of a conflict with America, they don't want one tomorrow.
Yeah.
They're
reliant.
They're just getting stronger.
They need us to buy
is
shit.
Just getting better. Yeah.
So last time you were on the pod, you talked kind of in a way that made it feel like America's, you might have even said it, an empire on the decline.
Sure.
Do you still feel that way? If so, is it China? Who's next? What's the biggest threat?
I think we're in a stage of decline, but we're in a stage of decline the way a housewife is. You know, she's in Beverly Hills. the tits are still out.
Yeah.
They're still out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She's not getting the attention she got. The tits are still out.
Yeah.
She's still in a Porsche. She's on husband 3. He's no oligarch, but you know, he's got a good medical supplies company.
Yeah.
They got a house in the flats.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
She's got one kid in rehab and another one who's an artist in Soho.
We're Sharon Stone.
Yeah.
We're Sharon Stone. We're not. It ain't crisis mode.
No,
It ain't
it's a
crisis
beautiful,
mode.
elegant
the tits
woman.
Are out, but
Yeah.
it ain't.
You're not 25.
It's not. We don't. It doesn't go backwards.
Yeah.
So she knows that.
So you think glory days are gone? How much longer do we have? And then who takes?
Glory days are all subjective. One guy's glory days are another people's hell. Some people say the 50s and 60s were the glory days. Well, they weren't for minorities, gays, or women, right?
Yeah.
Some people said the 90s were the glory days. Some people will say that the early 2000s were the glory days. Some people will say that right now is the glory days because they just made a lot of money in Bitcoin and live in Miami and you know, who knows. I just think that we're in our bad, we're a little past bad bitch, and now we're in our front row of a Porsche heading down PCH kind of IDAF phase. I don't give a fuck phase.
Yeah.
And then after that, it's the sloppy pills phase.
So we got to make
what I mean?
sure that we don't get to the sloppy pills.
We want to.
This is a nice phase. Driving down the PCH in a Porsche is incredible.
This is a great phase because it's I've done it phase. Yes, people talk shit about me. Yes, I've had 3 husbands.
Yeah.
Yes, my kids hate me.
But
but I did it.
Yeah.
At a certain point in life, you start going, I did it. No matter what you've done, which is actually hilarious. No matter what you've done, I've known some of the biggest losers in the world.
But they did it.
Still, when they get to 40, they start talking about shit like they'll talk about taking a bus.
Yeah.
They'll go, I took a bus. Like, they don't care. You have to look back and go, it was something.
Yeah.
So this bitch, we did it. We did it.
Yeah.
And we're in that phase. The next phase is sloppy pills. Where are the pills?
Is there a way to
We
avoid
don't want
that?
her to show up at the lunch phase.
Yeah.
Because she's a problem.
Is there a way to avoid that phase?
Technology, science, medicine. How good can it get? How much better can it get? I know you had that crazy guy in the other day.
Yeah,
He's
Brian.
awesome.
Drinking his kid's blood. He seems fun.
Honestly,
I do check in on the show all the time, and I go, "What is Andrew doing?"
honestly, he was
Andrew's
great.
like, Putin will be on this. I'm like, how did Tucker get it before Andrew got it?
So
because we wouldn't fly out.
here's the
Yeah,
thing.
Too far.
That's a good point.
Here's the thing, it's great speaking to people that truly believe that they're going to change the world.
Yes.
Or believe in what they're doing. Like, I had dinner with Bob Lazar with Rogan once. He's
Yes.
the UFO dude.
Yes.
And I don't know if I believe in UFOs, but I know he believes
Yes.
that he was doing it.
Yes.
Like, I don't think he's lying.
Sure.
And that Brian dude genuinely believes
They
if he
all
doesn't
believe
get
it.
hit by a bus,
They all
he
believe
can
it.
live forever.
The CIA believes it. The FSB believes it. Putin believes. Putin's
Yeah.
not kidding.
Yeah.
Putin's not kidding.
Yeah.
Putin genuinely believes that the West is going to try to take Russia and westernize it. He believes that. Now,
I think he's right.
yeah, I mean, Ann Applebaum in The Atlantic, all these people writing articles going, we need to westernize Russia. It's a failed state. It's a failed society.
It's westernized. I went to Moscow. I
Yeah.
did stand up there.
No, but it's all,
westernized.
All these people want to do is sell weapons. Once you just understand that
That's
the world
it.
is selling
Yeah.
weapons,
Yeah,
everything makes sense.
Okay.
You go, oh, I get it.
So let's back up. It's not westernized in terms of trans bathrooms. They could give a flying fuck if
Right.
you love trans people or not. Are
Right.
you buying the weapons from Raytheon?
That's right.
If you're buying the weapons from
Because
Raytheon,
that's
we're
it.
good.
That's it. So that's what they want. And Putin genuinely believes, whether he's right or wrong, or whether people think he's overreacting or not,
Yeah.
he believes there is an existential threat through NATO to Russia.
Yeah.
And I think he's probably correct.
But isn't there always one from your neighbors? Like, I hate when people bring up that argument. They're like, oh, we've been invaded like this for thousands of years. It's like, yeah, that's what neighbors do. Neighbors invade each other for thousands of years.
That's why Russia wants their neighbors to not have the means.
To do it.
To do it.
Completely get it.
Yeah.
Tough cookies.
Well, no, but it is tough cookies because they have 200 nuclear weapons.
But do they work?
They work.
How do we know that? That's what I'm saying. Like, there's a lot of like
They work.
huffing and puffing. Like, he was like,
Yeah.
we have hypersonic speed and we have the
Listen,
greatest
if
in the world.
we didn't think they worked, we'd be in Ukraine fighting with them.
That's a valid point.
American boots are
That's
not
a
on
valid
that soil.
point. It's a valid point.
Wait a minute. Let's talk about that. That's interesting. If
We will send weapons.
We will send weapons.
We will not go.
And why is that not a violation? Like, if you're supplying the weapons to the people that are killing me, like, I'm at
Because
war with
it's
you.
a fun game.
Because so those are the rules of the game.
It's the rules of the game.
And that's
See, it's
why
all
he
a big
smiles
game.
at it.
Yeah.
With the Nord Stream shit.
He needs this. Everyone needs
Oh, because
it.
it galvanizes it. People.
Putin's in his third act. His tits are out.
Yeah.
He's on a PCH. He's
both-
trying to avoid sloppy pills. He's got his tits out on a PCH.
That's
Everybody
interesting.
needs
yeah,
this.
Yeah, they need it.
We all need it.
When they blew up the Nord
Stream.
Stream.
Don't end this shit.
that's
I got
good.
2 great bits on this.
This is
It's
good.
the stage.
Yeah.
The Royal Albert Hall. Keep it going.
Yo,
We're gonna do it.
also, Royal Albert
Please
Hall
go,
is beautiful.
London people.
London, go show up for Timmy. He's coming to Royal
Yes,
Albert Hall.
thank
When?
It's early April the 7th, I believe.
Okay, good.
It's a Sunday, but what
a
are you doing?
stunning
You'll go. Please
venue.
go. It's amazing.
It was really one of the most beautiful places.
No, I'm excited to do
ever
it,
performed.
and I'm excited to do it. But yeah, I mean, it's like, we won't go there and we won't do it. We just have to give them the weapons. We can't do it because then that's direct confrontation. But we don't want direct
If we
confrontation.
did Nord Stream, that's direct confrontation.
But
Now,
nobody can prove it.
and how? But isn't what he brought something up on it? He goes, "There's only one country that's capable of doing it."
Yeah, capable
Right, so
with motive.
Capable
Putin
with
knows we
motive.
did it, but here's the deal.
Yeah.
He cannot allow American troops to kill Russian soldiers in the Ukraine without responding by going to a hot war with America. We can underhand it.
Oh, now I'm getting it. Okay,
Yeah.
so basically, he might not even want to go into a hot war, but his people will lose respect for him.
That's correct.
And his power will be threatened if he
They'll do
doesn't
a
go to
coup.
hot war.
They'll do a coup.
So he's only acting. So as long as we behave in a way where he
Yeah.
doesn't have to react. Now, they must know that we're supplying the weapons. We're literally talking about in the news. We're going $14 billion going to Ukraine.
He knows. He's literally said, stop supplying the weapons, and the war will end in 2 weeks.
Now, at the same time, you could probably argue we're also supplying food in some way to the Russian army. We're supplying Coca-Cola. It's like the global economy is so intermixed.
Yeah, it's, you know, at the end of the day, it's like, this is a geopolitical chess game.
Yeah.
And there's things we can do without going into a wider war.
Yeah.
And there's things we can't do. We can't put troops on the ground, and we won't. Our citizenry will not tolerate. We can put all the flags up. We can, you know, do all the songs and the dances.
Yeah.
We will not tolerate American troops in harm's way in the Ukraine. We won't.
Oh,
Separate. Go.
A Russian rocket that can take down satellites. What's your opinion on it?
Do I know how accurate it is? I mean, the Russians have a lot of stuff. They've, you know, Putin rebuilt that country.
Do they?
Yeah.
Name a
They have lot of
Russian
stuff.
car.
Yeah, but they're not going to bomb us with a car.
Name, if you can't make a car, you can make a bomb.
No, you can make a bomb.
I don't think you can.
Yeah, in fact,
name a
the
Russian
reason-
car.
Yeah, but
Name a
the
Russian
reason-
boats. Name a Russian anything.
India sell these things.
The reason that they
know what I mean?
don't make
They can make
cars
cars.
is because all the money goes into
Tata.
bombs and things like that.
I
Russia
don't
does not
subscribe
have
to
a
Here's
big
my-
economy. Well, it's not subscribed to it, it's fact.
I don't believe it. I mean, we don't know it's fact. You haven't seen
My
it
mother
blow
didn't
up.
believe Obama was a Christian, so that doesn't mean anything.
He's not a
She was like, you know, she goes, there's prayer rugs in the White House. I go, really? Okay. The reality is, Russia decided a long time ago, all they have is the teeth. They have fear. They do not have an economy. They're never going to compete with us economically.
Yeah.
They don't have the people we have. They don't have the ingenuity. They don't have
But
any
they
of
have
that.
natural resources, so they don't need any of that.
Yeah, but
have
they're
giant
not.
land
So
mass.
does Brazil has natural resources. They need nukes. They need fear. They need the ability to pulverize. They need to be scary. If they're not scary, then what are they? They've got an economy roughly the size of Brazil. It's not
a big deal.
It's not a big deal. They need to be scary, so they have scary stuff. Otherwise, we would treat them like Iraq. If they didn't have these nukes, he'd be gone already.
Yeah.
He'd be gone.
Okay.
We would treat him like Iraq. We put him in a hole.
Yeah.
We knew he didn't have weapons of mass destruction. That's why we went in there.
Yeah, but there's not 150 million people in Iraq.
That's a good point.
That's the thing. It's, it's hard to manage a country of 150 million people.
We'd set up a puppet government. It would be fine.
But if
we
he
don't
thought
want to
he'd
go in there because we know that he has nuclear weapons.
nukes.
That's why countries want nukes, because it's the last line of defense against the West.
Here's my thought. If we talk about geopolitical chess, to me, the only reason I guess, I don't know if I support the war, but I'm okay with hopefully seeing Russia come over to this team, because China is the largest looming threat in my brain.
And you're
If it's
absolutely
chess,
right. You're
that's
correct.
the
And the
queen.
sane members of our foreign policy establishment are saying we need to focus a lot less on Russia and a lot more on China.
But if we can get Russia over to our
1000%.
side, if Putin falls, Russia eventually becomes Western.
I don't think so. I don't think the next guy is going to be a friend of ours. I think this was kind of a strategic mistake. I think we should have probably said, hey,
let's do a deal.
Let's do a deal. But I also just don't think we're that afraid of China either. I think that,
I think is underestimating.
Yeah, we might be underestimating. I just think we're not that afraid of China. I think it's like we need China, China needs us.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think we're that
mutually
afraid.
assured destruction with
If
us.
we were that afraid, I think we wouldn't be spending all these resources. I just feel like cooler heads will prevail with China, perhaps.
Okay.
However, they're gonna probably maybe take Taiwan.
I need to understand something. Okay, we can't let them take Taiwan until we can make the chips. That's a big deal with these chips. And then
I agree with you.
NVIDIA out here like holding the whole stock market on its shoulders.
Yeah.
You're definitely not going to let China come swoop in and take that.
It's going to be tough. We're going to have to figure it out. They want Taiwan. They want a unified. They want the South China Sea. They want Taiwan. They want their power base in Asia. They want to run Asia. They want to be the boss of Asia.
Yeah.
We're going to have to find a way to either let them be the boss or feel like they're the boss.
Okay.
All right, guys, let's take a break for a second, because some of y'all are taking supplements. You're not taking the best shit. You're just not taking the best shit, and you can be taking the best because your body deserves the best. Actually, I don't even know your body. All I'm saying is, if I'm going to spend the money, I'm going to get the best stuff, because if I'm taking these powders, if I'm taking these supplements, it's to improve the performance of my body and my brain. So why would I not do the best? How do I know it's the best? I'll tell you why. Because the billion and trillion dollar organizations that need the best supplements for their employees, i.e., NFL football teams, college football teams, I don't know, the United States military, when you need the best performance, you're going with Momentous. Simple as that. They don't play games.
When billions and trillions of dollars are on the line, they don't play games, okay? So this is not your little bodega bullshit. This is the thing that's gonna give you the best results. So if you're already taking the supplements or you wanna step your shit up, you're gonna go with Momentous, okay? Momentous creatine uses creatine monohydrate. You don't know what that is? I don't even know what that is, but it's the gold standard in creatine supplementation. Is full informed sport and NSF certified for sports certifications, meaning it contains no banned substances, no toxic contaminants like heavy metals or pesticides. What you see on the label is exactly what you get, which is very important. You're gonna buy boxes from random fucking places. You don't know what the hell they're putting in there. They could grind up rats, cockroaches. You could be getting cockroach protein powder for all you know, but when you're with Momentous, you won't do it at all. Also, the creatine benefits for athletic performance include accelerated lean muscle development, increased strength and power, enhanced recovery rehabilitation, enhanced injury prevention, reducing dehydration, muscle cramps, injuries if you're playing paddle 4 times a week because you're cool, okay? No one that's not cool would do that or something. However, you'll figure out the syntax for that sentence. What I'm trying to say is your boy's on the Momentous. It's the only way I can be out there on them courts, getting busy with the dogs. It's straight dogs on the paddle courts, okay? Only way I can do it is with the Momentous. You know, if I need that protein isolate, I get the grass-fed whey protein isolate. Protein, fundamental macronutrient that's essential for muscle growth. If you're lifting and you're not taking protein, then what's the point? You're not even building muscle at that point. You need to feed the muscle, and you're gonna get your protein from Momentous. High-quality protein content provides essential amino acids that support muscle repair and growth after intense physical activity. We know what you're up to. We know what you're doing. Right now, Momentous is offering listeners of Flagrant up to 36% off with your first subscription order. And if you don't want to subscribe, you can still get 20% off creatine, protein, and all of my favorite products. Go to livemomentous.com/flagrant. Use the code flagrant at checkout to get those discounts and to get your life together. All right, now let's get back to the show.
All right, guys, we're going to take a break real quick because you need to get on Prize Picks. If you're not playing Prize Picks and you're playing fantasy sports, make the switch. Fantasy's a pain in the ass. You know it. You got to set your lineups every week. If one of your players gets injured, you got to adjust everything. You got to be there for a draft. It's so time-consuming. Prize Picks is so easy. Daily fantasy app. And most importantly, if you go to prizepicks.com, they will match your initial deposit up to $100 if you use the promo code Schultz. That means if you put in 100, they will give you 100 for free. Look at that. Happy just perked up. You're in about 100 free dollars. All right? All you got to do is pick 2 to 6 players every game, anytime, any day that you want to. And if they win or if they go more or less than their Prize Picks projection, you can win up to 25x your money on any entry. For example, tonight you got Mikal Bridges getting more than 24.5 points. Pick more. If you got Mikal Bridges getting less than 10 rebounds, you pick less. There you go. You just did it. I just did a Prize Pick for you. So it's that simple, guys. Do it on any sport you want. NFL, NBA, MLB, NHL, PGA, college football. They even did the World Cup of Cricket. I did that back there when I went to that fucking disaster of a final where India lost. Guys, prizepicks.com, promo code Schultz. Get on there. It's super fun. Let's get back to the show.
I'm trying to understand this George Soros character, okay?
Yeah.
I hear his name a lot.
Sure.
It's this boogeyman thing.
Sure.
And I'm trying to parse something here. Is he the equal and opposite reaction to like the Koch brothers?
Yes, I would say that the Koch brothers probably.
Can you explain who they are to the audience?
Yeah, they're a family of right-wing billionaires that are kind of more libertarian. They really love free markets. They love free trade. They want to make money. They own like Dixie Cup, they own oil. They have everything, right?
But they are big donors.
They're big donors to
they
Republican
support
right-wing causes. Yes,
and I assume
they have done. They've kind of weaponized philanthropy in a very interesting way.
Yeah.
They set up all these foundations and then reroute all that money that's donated.
Where I had my kid was a Koch, the New York Presbyterian Hospital.
The Koch Theater is the Met.
Love the guy.
So
they're doing a great job.
They are a huge force in right-wing politics.
Okay, so now I'm assuming that some of this philanthropy is benevolent, sure.
They have more of an interest in federal policy. He has more of an interest in state policy. crime
Well,
DAs.
I want to get to that in 1 second.
Yeah.
Okay, but I assume that all these donations are not necessarily altruistic. They, in some way,
Yes.
help the Koch brothers' business pursuits, right?
Yes.
They can make, I don't know, change legislation,
Yes.
make it a little easier to do business, make some more money, right?
Yes.
So that's what you're dumping money
There's
into.
a great book about this called Dark Money by Jane Mayer, where she wrote about how the Koch brothers realized there was a limit to campaign contributions, and then they started, infiltrating universities. They started really selecting people to be professors. They
Right.
went on a granular level to
Yeah.
try to advance their
Influence
policy
culture.
ideas.
Yeah.
Influence culture.
And okay, but I understand this because as long as these policies are out there and these ideologies are out there, and then maybe they might look at it and be like, yo, we're being heroes. We're actually saving the United States of America.
That's
we're
right.
saving freedom. So I'm not saying that they're nefarious actors here.
Sure.
But all the things that they support potentially make them more money, right?
Oh,
Let's
yes.
just say. Okay, so
Oh,
that's
yeah.
ideally.
And their friends.
And their friends. More money. So that's bottom line. So I guess I'm trying to understand if Soros is the equal and opposite
Yeah.
reaction. In other words, the quote unquote benevolent donator from the left wing side, what is he donating to that helps his businesses? Like, what are his businesses that deploying this type of cash is
Yeah.
going to support? That's
Well,
what that's
Soros
what I'm trying to make.
made billions of dollars a long time ago, crashing the English pound.
I read that.
He's a financier, but his interest is in social policy. So Soros.
How does that benefit him?
Well, there's a lot of
financially?
there's a lot of ideological reasons that George Soros believes the things he does. Like, he is a believer that the carceral state in America is
That means prison.
prisons are completely unfair and unjust, and he's not completely wrong there. What Soros often does is he will go and get two left-wing DAs and support them both so that they go head-to-head, and that the most left-wing one, they push each other to the extremes, and then the most extreme one will win. And his goals are what he feels like is a reformation of the American criminal justice system to be more focused on rehabbing criminals, not putting people in jail that don't belong there, and changing that dynamic.
So on paper, that looks like it
Looks
makes
great.
sense. It looks
Looks
like
great on paper.
Now, I think that he's been blamed, and maybe rightfully so, I don't know enough,
Sure.
for the kind of destruction of some liberal cities.
Well, there are a lot of Soros-backed and funded DAs who are pushing ideas like no bail. They're
Right.
pushing ideas like
kind
not
of incentivizing
prosecuting.
crime in a way.
Yeah, and
But how does he make money on this? That's the only thing that's missing from this equation. 'Cause
Sure.
I hear this a lot, and if it's pure benevolence, he just wants to change the justice system, that's weird. But there has to be some way where he can profit off of this.
Well, I'm sure there is, by the way. I'm sure there is. I think that there's, all kinds of things, and I don't know the Soros portfolio, right?
Right.
But there's a lot of tech companies right now that are focusing on like surveillance and things like that, because as things get less safe,
if there's more crime,
there's
then you would
more
need
surveillance, yeah.
So that to
And,
me makes sense.
These guys are all behind the vaccine passports. They are all behind a world in which everybody's on the grid in a major way.
So if you're invested in the grid,
Yeah.
you want to do everything you can to
Yeah.
make sure more people have to sign up for the grid.
I think you
That's making a
want to
little more
deliver
sense.
people into a world, and you have to deliver them through a little chaos.
You can't force them there, but you can
Yes.
create a system.
You can make them want the
Hey, give
surveillance.
us safety.
Yes.
Hey, my car got broken into 5 times. Can you put up some cameras somewhere around
Yeah.
here? So now you're begging for your own imprisonment.
If your goal is
Whoa.
big government and your goal is a omnipresent government force, then I think a little street chaos is probably good ultimately.
But
for
do you
that.
believe that's his goal? Because that's a far cry from, I just think the prison system should be reformed.
I just think he's wrong. Here's the thing with George Soros. I just think he's wrong. I don't know how Machiavellian he is. I think he's wrong. I think the way his goals are good, the way he's getting there is wrong. I think he's wrong. I think people can be wrong. I don't think we have to ascribe negative motives to everybody.
He could do it.
I think he's wrong. I
Yeah.
just think he's wrong. I think that the policies he's pursuing make the people he purports to care about less safe. And those are poor people, people in the inner city, things like that, that are on public transit, are, you know, maybe going to be the victims of a crime. I think he's wrong. I don't know him well enough to know what his overarching motives are. And it's hard, you know, we can say that, and I don't know, he might, I do know that he's incredibly concerned with what he feels, you know, he pushes the ideology of kind of the DIE, the diversity, equity, inclusion ideology, where he believes that the American society is fundamentally unfair and that it needs to be reformed. And I would have some disagreements with him there, for sure.
Right.
I think he's wrong. I think there's a lot of people that are wrong, not necessarily as these evil characters. The Koch brothers, I think, are wrong. They believe in unfettered free trade. They believe in open borders because they don't want to pay anyone a wage. So if they open all the borders and everyone comes in, they go, do it for $1.
Yeah.
This is why the Koch brothers, they don't love El Salvadorian people. You know what I mean? Like, they're not like, we need more cultural diversity. They want to pay people the least amount that they can. I think they're wrong. Do I think that they're these Machiavellian evil types? Well, sure, anyone in a suit that's a billionaire who lives on Park Avenue can fit into that and might be. But all we can say about a lot of these people is that they're wrong. Bill Gates is, I think, wrong when you're mandating people's personal health choices. I think you're wrong.
Right.
I don't know why he's buying up farmland. I don't know. That's creepy.
What is up with all these like real estate purchases you see from the billionaire
I think
class?
people want to own. I think people want to own resources directly, and I think they feel like you see this a lot in Europe right now, in the Netherlands, where corporate, you know, small farmers are protesting all the time because they're putting all these new standards in place that make it harder to be a small farmer, greenhouse gas emission standards, things like that. And, you know, it's just, you know, these big corporate agricultural companies are the ones that are thriving at the expense of these farmers. So in the real estate industry, when you have BlackRock buying up single family homes.
Yeah, explain that, because I saw that.
During
BlackRock is this massive hedge fund, right?
During the pandemic, there was a lot of rent relief, but and some mortgage relief and stuff like that, right? And what ended up happening was it ended up being, you know, a transfer of wealth. All these bailouts went to these big corporations, right?
Yeah.
And it truly benefited not mom and pop landlords, because they still were on the hook for their taxes and utilities and things like that. And, you know, it really benefited corporate landlords who went in and then bought up a lot of single family homes that people, and then they jacked the price of real estate up by going in and just outbidding everybody, buying these homes in cash. And now people cannot, people have been priced out of home ownership, and now they're renting the homes that are owned by BlackRock. Up until recently, they kind of got out of the real estate game because they were taking a little heat. They were getting a lot of bad press, and, you know, things, you know, they're like, now we're buying at the height of the market, rates suck, whatever. They backed out, but up until recently, they were, I think, the biggest corporate buyer of U.S. residential real estate, and they've priced a generation of people out of owning a home. And they just did that because I think eventually all of these big corporations want you to rent.
Yeah.
They want you to take Ubers and Lyfts.
Yeah.
They want you to have food delivered. They don't want you to own a business or even think about owning a business. They want you to work at a corporation that they own.
That's, I mean, is that terrifying?
It's terrifying.
Yeah.
It's like, I think that's even the model with the iPhone now, right? Don't you kind of like pay a monthly fee and you can keep on getting a new phone?
It was explained to me
You're
this
almost like
way.
leasing your phone.
The really smart guy came on my show. He goes, every entity, this guy Russ Baker, he writes books and crap.
Yeah.
But he said every government, whether it's a company or a government, every entity that's ever existed seeks power through control.
Yeah.
It's power through control. If you can control people, you have the power over them. So I think that it's like every government on earth, every Fortune 500 company, I think they want people to be just,
if you don't own your home, someone else has control.
Is there?
Over you. Yeah. So if you, the less things that you own, the more verticals there are to exhibit control over you.
That's correct.
And is there a solution to this? Is there any way? Because it seems like this is just inevitable, the way it's being described.
I mean, maybe not. I do think it's interesting to look at you know, whether it's crypto or whether it's, you know, the independence that comes along with a currency that's not Fed backed, right? Like the idea.
I mean, I was being facetious. Do you really?
No,
think
I'm dead serious. I think that like eventually you will. I think unfortunately crypto might just end up being a thing that enriches very rich people anyway. Yeah. But
God willing,
you know, independence. Independence, you have to fight for it. You have to keep fighting for it forever throughout history. That's the whole thing. You have to just keep fighting for your independence. It didn't end with the Revolutionary War.
So
this is where I give my big speech at the end here.
Go.
Like Katie Porter, like Big Mama.
yeah.
And then I go have a meatball on a stick for $19 in Soho, or whatever crap they now shove down our throats. You know, and just completely go against everything I said. But you just have to keep fighting. You just have to carve out ways that you individually can depend on less people.
Yeah.
And create communities. I think communal living is going to be a big deal. I think people are going to have their own cities. I think people are going to have their own value systems where they go, we're creating a space for ourselves that, you know, kind of like on the grid, but off the grid. I think people are going to, you know, all of this stuff. I think cities are going to.
The pods, we were talking about that, about the pod learning.
Suicide pods?
Yeah, suicide pods.
No, they're great ideas. Get right in, it's over.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You think religion comes back?
Yeah, but I think the thing with religion is always that a lot of the people that are going to take advantage of it will be charlatans. This is what has happened forever, right?
Yeah.
So like religion, I think there is a resurgence of religion. I think that faith is good. I think people should have. I think religion can be a great force for good.
Yeah.
I think it can be manipulated, and it often is by sociopaths to,
of course,
you know, create a lot of violence and chaos.
I would still say net positive, but absolutely.
I agree. Yeah, I think it's a net positive. You know, so I don't know what happens. I can't predict it, but you will have to try in the small and big ways you can to like not succumb to all of this stuff, especially if you are. A lot of the values that I was raised with, which is like go to college, take out student loans, do what everyone else is doing. I think those are not the right values.
Right.
The values actually are look at who's succeeding, look at what they're doing.
Yeah.
You know, try to figure out how you can be nimble, agile, move different places. No one's saying you have to live in the most expensive city in the world. Go find a city that's nothing with 200 people, make it something. Go take over Lexington, Kentucky.
Right.
You know what I mean? Dead serious.
Yeah.
Go take over something. Go build a community of like-minded people somewhere, you know?
Would you do that?
No.
Because I see you as
You already did.
It's called a hint.
Yeah, it's good.
No, because I see
Sag
you as,
Harbor.
you're
a gem.
In a lot of ways, you're a loner isn't the right thing because you're always around people, but you do march to beat your own drum.
Yeah, I do kind of. I've learned. I used to hate that, and I now
Hey, what?
kind of being just kind of an island a little bit,
But
and then
I feel like you're like that.
Yeah, I
you're
like
well
that,
liked
yeah.
by all these different groups.
Yeah.
You can make fun of all of them. They still bring you in.
Yeah.
But there is a little isolation in you.
There's a little isolation for sure. I mean, but as I get older, like I'm 39 now, I think that career stuff is great, but I also think that like things outside of your career become much more important right around this age. So I think, I mean, I'm not against that now the way that I was. Like if you asked me 5 years ago, I'd be
Would
like,
you join
no
a cult?
way.
You're not going to join?
No, I'd start a cult. I'd never join anything.
Where are you? Are you moving out of LA? What's the deal?
I don't know where I live. No one really knows. I don't even know.
I know the government doesn't.
At the end of the day, I'm a resident of Dubai. At the end of the day, I sit down with my business guy and I go, where have I been? And he goes, here's where you've been and here's where you have to pay taxes.
And he counts the days.
And he counts the days.
God bless
They
him.
all have the days. When I go in to their office
So
in Sherman
will-
Oaks, I go, where have I been? And he goes, here's where you've been.
So will they say you got to park your ass in Texas?
No, because I gave up on that. I love Texas in the sense that I love the audiences. I love Rogan. I love his club. I love Shane. I love everyone who works there.
Yeah.
I gave up living there because I didn't vibe with it.
Yeah.
So I think you just got to vibe with it.
Yeah,
I didn't
yeah.
vibe with Austin, Texas.
So when you said you love Texas, what you meant was
I love the people that
you love all the people that aren't from there that move there.
No, I love the people there that I love. It's got a great culture, but it's not my culture. Here's the thing. I really believe that cultures are different. I feel like it would be like, for me personally, I'm such a New York guy.
Yeah.
And then I lived in LA being a New York guy.
Yeah.
And for me, it was just Texas was a bridge too far.
Yeah.
That's all.
No, it's like you visit a place and you're like, yo, I love it, but I can never.
It's a great culture. I love the
That's how it
music,
feels.
some of the food, all of that stuff. You know what I mean? Like,
Not enough car
there's
breaks.
good.
Why can't you get there? What is the thing that you're missing?
Seafood, oceans.
Yeah.
You need a little water.
I need a little water. I like water. My mother, I think your mother's DNA is imprinted on you. And my mother loved Florida. She spent a lot of time in Florida. She like surfed. She was into boating. All that was always by beaches. Like, just being around water to me is kind of
Are
important.
you going to be out east this summer, you think?
Yeah.
For like extended?
I think so.
I love this.
I think so.
Yeah.
And the prices are going up right now because a lot of Jewish people don't want to go abroad because of anti-Semitism. So the values are up and the rentals are up and the prices are up. Everybody's winning all around. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing.
More.
It is what it is.
Springtime.
Springtime.
Oh, that's hilarious. So people have been trying to rent your spot out there like crazy?
Yeah, but I'm not going to do it, but I don't think, but
You know
like.
Jews living there?
Of course, we got to keep it, you know. So, but it's. Listen. Here's what I mean to say, and I don't mean to minimize the pain and the suffering and the hurt. But have we seen clouds, silver linings? And the silver lining sometimes of a little shake, because the Earth, the planet is just you shake it a little bit.
Shake it up.
And you shake it a little bit, and I'm not shaking it. Who's mad at me?
Yeah.
You out there mad at me? Did I shake it? It's shaking, and it shakes, and then sometimes good things happen. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
And who are we to not take
knows?
advantage of those good things?
I just say to myself, hey, what he did with the fire, I say, new, love it. Love it. Love it.
When do we get
and
the
then my
book?
realtor calls and goes, people don't want to travel abroad, and the house values are really going up, and the rental prices are going up. And I go, oh, interesting. So I'm like, so one guy with fire, and the house price going up?
All right, guys. We're going to take a break real quick because you need to step your dick game up. If your dick game could use some improvement, and I bet yours can, you probably think it's great. It's not that great. Blue Chew is there to help. All the same active ingredients as in all those other medications, but this one is the one we endorse. These are the guys that have fucked with us from the beginning. You know what I mean? And here's the beautiful thing. If you're not sure about it, you just want to try it, here is a special deal. Try Blue Chew for free when you use our promo code FLAGRANT. Okay, try Blue Chew for free when you use our promo code FLAGRANT at checkout. All you got to do is pay $5 for shipping. That's BlueChew.com, promo code FLAGRANT to receive your first month for free. BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information. We obviously love Blue Chew. Thank y'all for sponsoring the podcast. Fellas, step your dick game up. Stop acting like you can't use some help. Get on that chew. Let's go back to the show. All right, guys, let's take a break real quick because Happy and me got to tell you about Morgan & Morgan. I don't even know if he's in the shot right now. He's cuddled and sleeping very adorably on my arm. Don't pan the camera down. Just know that it makes my heart melt. But here's what's important. If you are in an accident, not calling a lawyer means you could be leaving money on the table. And it's a pain in the ass if you get wrongfully injured. You got to go through all these. But I don't know, we used a phone book back in my day. What are you using now? The internet's, the Googles, the chat GPT, find the best lawyer. You got to figure it all out. Or you can just check out Morgan & Morgan. That's incredibly easy. Morgan & Morgan is America's largest injury law firm. They have over 100 officers nationwide and more than 1,000 lawyers. Here's what's important. They have recovered over $20 billion for over 500,000 clients. They have a proven track record of fighting to get you full and fair compensation. Submitting an injury claim with Morgan & Morgan is easy. Again, getting wrongfully injured sucks. Normally, taking care of all the shit you got to take care of is hard, so do something that's easy. Submit an injury claim with Morgan & Morgan. So if you're ever injured, you can check out Morgan & Morgan. Their fee is free unless you win. That's important to know. Their fee is free unless you win. So for more information, go to forthepeople.com/flagrant or dial pound law, which is pound 529 from your cell phone. That's FORTHEPEOPLE
people.com/flagrant, or pound law, pound 529 from your cell. This is a paid advertisement.
Book is coming out soon. I dropped my publisher because the guy who greenlit my book got fired or left the company. Something happened.
Okay,
and then they brought in a new lady.
Back up the whole thing. Okay, so
Yeah.
you get this book deal,
I get a book deal.
which I think is fantastic.
Great medium for you, yeah.
Yeah, I really
Yes.
like this.
Well, thank you.
The book is specifically about
My boomer parents and boomers in general,
And how
growing up
they
in
ruined-
the 90s. Yeah, it's like a fun
satirical take.
satirical autobiography, but it's really about the type of people that I grew up with, which because of the internet, I think people's personalities are being more flattened now.
yeah.
And these were really unique, terrible, funny,
Yeah.
selfish, horrible,
Yeah.
vicious, racist, homophobic,
Awesome
misogynist,
people.
awesome, fun, lovable
Americans.
scamps. They were fun people.
You can be all things.
It can be all things. And they were just really fun, and they perpetual victims, always aggrieved. Easiest run of all the generations, probably, outside of Nam.
Yeah.
It was pretty smooth sailing.
yeah.
But again, they're always upset. They're always pissed off. They're always complaining. No, it's so true.
The easiest run
They bought of any generation.
And they fucking cry about
and
it.
they cry about it nonstop. Horrible, the things they had to
They bought a
endure.
home for 40 grand.
Yeah, traffic, you can't get anywhere. Lines at the grocery store. They are the most.
Everybody's got an opioid addiction now. They're
Yeah.
like, oh, it took me 2 hours to get to my $20,000 home, and they
they're
have to.
completely.
Parents served in the war. They were born
Yes.
after.
They were born after. They're disconnected. They keep telling their kids to do the things they did. They're not aware. It's impossible. My dad said once, I was like, all these jobs are going to be automated. He's like, you kids will have it all. He goes, you're not going to have to do anything for yourselves. I go, yeah, but those are jobs. And people are
Yeah.
He's like, oh, come on. They don't care.
Yeah.
And they're very funny. They're actually really, really funny. My dad said, we were at Christmas, and my step sister said something annoying about climate change. Like something annoying. And Waj lives in D.C. or whatever, and whatever. I was eating a risotto ball, and she was talking. And then my father goes like this. My father goes, when you really start to pay attention to the weather? When you get a boat. And he goes, because we are on our boat, and we are really taking it. And that's their generation of people. Like, that's how, if they are not directly affected, I mean directly affected, they don't give a fuck about anything.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, it is a selfishness that they're
They
completely
invited their
unaware of.
realtor to Christmas. My father looks at me and he goes, she's been fighting brain cancer for 20 years. He goes, she's really something. And then I'm like, so they are ghoulish. They're ghoulish.
What's the title? I need to know the title.
Death by Boomers.
Ah, okay.
And it'll be about just how they...
Where do you get
They used to call us fat fucks. Like my friend's mother, Barbara.
Yeah.
And it was the funniest thing in the world. She would smoke a Marlboro Red. She would roll down the way. This was her son. And she would roll down the... imagine. By the way, imagine it. Is there a better woman than this?
How old are you?
14. She would roll down the window of her Saturn. She was smoking a cigarette. And she'd go, where are you fat fucks going? I mean the mother, his mother.
Big mama. Big mama.
Big mama.
So they're like we talk about the generational wealth and the shit kids who ruin it. Are they that for America? They had this.
But they're not even wealthy.
They're not wealthy.
No, but America
they
was.
have like,
just
they have
so
like a nice
detached.
share.
Yeah.
But America was.
They're actually better off than the wealthy people because at some level of rich, you have to think about other things.
Yeah.
They had just enough money. All it did was corrupt them and destroy their children. And that's all it needed to do. They never thought about civic virtue or angling for position. They just wanted a Lexus and a shitty timeshare at a golf resort.
That's so true.
That's all they cared about.
But what I'm asking is, America was a power, and then this generation comes and then just kind of squanders the power. Like the Vanderbilt.
No, it's not even.
It's not even that. These people are.
They live on Long Island.
Yeah, they live in Long Island. They live in the suburbs of any city. They're 30 to 40 minutes out of any city.
Yeah.
They are constantly talking about the girl at the dry cleaner who screwed their life up because she doesn't speak English and didn't understand what they wanted. They are to be found.
Did you see Meredith's Christmas lights?
Yes, they're what we call pool and patio types.
Okay.
They're on a patio by a shitty pool. Yeah. They're talking about how many sacrifices they made for their children.
Yeah.
And when in reality, they've made none.
Yeah.
I had one woman tell me once, this woman Lisa, who I love, she looked at me, she goes, I married my husband for very practical reasons. She was drinking a martini, we were smoking cigs and drinking martini. She goes, I married my husband for very practical reasons. She goes, we were never in love. I was 16 in high school. This was like a heavy thing to drop. I was like best friends with her son. It was like a heavy fucking thing to drop. I was like, oh, I go, but you have fun. And she looked at me, she goes, we have fun. It was like amazing. I remember that moment as like, so interesting. She was very into like Eastern philosophy.
Okay.
And she was a housewife, and a lot of them were, right? She was into like Buddhism, and she goes, you just go around this planet many times until you get it. And then she'd look at her son and go, she'd go, and you're never gonna get it. she said once, she goes, and I swear to God, she goes,
why the hatred to their kids?
Because they view their kids as an impediment to their wellness, success, fulfillment. They did not. They're the first generation that did not want their children to have it better than they did.
Yes.
They actually wanted their children to be like they like put.
Did the children get in the way? Were they the first?
Yes, they got in the way.
So are they the first generation that are like, it's my life and I should be able to do whatever I want with it?
Yeah, I think the children got in the way, and I think the children also were there to support them emotionally, not the other way around. The children were there to let them know how.
So you have the greatest generation, and then you have the ghoulish generation.
My friend's mother I swear to God, just made up a fake attack in a grocery store. I'm sorry, in a grocery store parking lot, so she didn't have to go to his wedding. She made up the fact that she was pushed down in the parking lot of a grocery store. This is a complete lie.
Her son's wedding?
Her son's wedding.
Unbelievable.
And she said, the attack has prevented me from going to your wedding. This was a complete fabrication. She invented that she was attacked in a grocery store parking lot.
Okay, real quick.
Unbelievable.
Unreal.
Okay, so every generation that had a major war is sold the story of, hey, we are sacrificing for your wives and your children, right? This generation, the boomers don't have a major war.
No.
So is there no indoctrination of sacrifice? So then when they do have kids, they're like, why are you in the way of me enjoying whatever I want to enjoy in this moment?
They absolutely are that. It's a great way to put it. They're also the first generation of people where they really try out mass marketing on these people. They are marketed to death. They are advertised. They have entertained themselves to death, which is a great book by Neil Postman, Entertaining Ourselves to Death. They're the first generation that is, my father used to cry at the Budweiser Clydesdale commercials. He loved the frogs. He loved the frogs.
I love the frogs.
He loved the frogs.
Crying at the Clydesdale.
No, he loved it. This is the first generation of people to watch World War II documentaries, to feel proud of accomplishments they never had and sacrifices they never made. And they would watch World War II documentaries and they'd feel very proud of themselves while eating a cake.
Yeah.
That's the boomers.
They love a cruise.
That's the boomers.
But what happened? What is the generation before that? What I'm trying to understand is like, where do you get this perspective? Because that's all you know. That's who you were raised by. That's
right.
what you think people
So their
are.
parents were like the greatest generation.
But how do you know that boomers are weird? Because that should be the only thing you know. That should be what humans are.
I know a lot of people of a lot of different ages.
So you knew older people and you saw how different they were from your parents.
1000%.
Okay, so give me great generation.
Greatest generation.
How did they raise these people?
I think they were maybe, if they were a little cold, a little withholding.
Coming back from war.
Stoic,
Yeah.
But I think they gave their kids a lot. I think they gave them a lot of context to what life is. It was a lot of religion. My grandparents were incredibly religious. There was also kind of this idea that their dream was for their children to have a better life than they did.
the children were like, I'll do it.
The boomers' dream was to have the greatest lives they could.
Yeah.
It was not about
It
their
didn't
children.
continue.
They actually felt that their children
Inhibited their dream.
to some degree, and they also felt like if their children couldn't figure it out, they couldn't figure it out.
Even the TV shows that come up from it are resentful of the children.
Yes,
There's a lot of
always.
comedy that's resentful of children,
Married to
which is
children,
something
which
that
I love,
I'm
but-
finding out is kind of changing. Maybe just because I'm older, but like anybody around my age who just had kids, they message me and they go, "This is the greatest thing. You are so lucky. Enjoy these years."
Yes.
They love their kids.
No, it's amazing.
And it is so different than the comedy you saw. Like
And it's not funny.
It's not at all.
And it's good,
And it's
but it
my
shouldn't
funny
be.
friend. Even funny friends will just go, "Hey, this is awesome. This is amazing." Of course, the funnier take, hating your kids, you know, whatever Louis was doing.
Yeah.
But that comes from a generation of people that were very comfortable going, "These kids are annoying. They're getting in our way."
1,000%. I also think they were the first generation of people to get effed up with their kids. They drank with their kids. Some of them smoked pot with their kids.
Oh, yeah, there was no disconnect.
There was no disconnect.
The cool
They were like-
mom, cool
the
dad.
cool mom. They were like drunk. They were falling down in front of their children. Their children
They
were
would
putting
throw
them
the
to
house
bed.
party at their house when they were
We
there.
were doing drugs with our parents' friends. They were like screaming and yelling and just complete lunatic. They were complete maniacal.
And why?
lunatics.
Why was there this? Why was there no
I
disconnect?
just think it was, it was the relative ease at which things came to them. They had to create their own struggles. It really exposes the lie of the Woodstock generation. The Woodstock generation has been, I know you'll love this. We'll do Vatican II in a minute, but but the reality is the Woodstock generation, we see them as this progressive, free-loving. They were just selfish drug addicts. They were just selfish drug addicts. The drug chain.
Keep going, my boy.
The drug just became money.
Yes.
Consumerism, booze and pills. They were just selfish drug addicts. They didn't care about any of this stuff. They just wanted to have sex in the mud and do heroin, and that's okay. But the boomers proved that because the boomers were those people.
And they just, the drug just became.
The drug just became money and status and all of that stuff. The belief system that was supposedly underlying all that actually never existed, ever.
I've always wondered, because I was thinking about this like last week, like these guys that are so conservative now were the Woodstock guys. How did that happen? What changed?
Well, they were never liberal and they're barely conservative now. They actually chase their own self-interest like a dog chases a steak.
For example.
They're all anti-global warming, but all of them want to live on the water.
Yeah.
They all want to live on the water. They all want to have a boat. They all, for the most part, think global warming is full of shit.
Yeah.
Because, you know what I mean? But they all want in the nature to be exactly what it is for them.
Yeah.
Everything is for them. They are against the migrant crisis, but they adore housekeepers, nannies, and a lot of the things that come with it, right?
Yeah.
They think Biden's too old, but they're 75 and they're not retiring. And they're not selling their house.
Yeah.
And they won't sell their house and they're retiring to a larger house.
Yeah.
But they also will scream and yell about Joe Biden being too old. But are they going to pass the business down to their son?
Nope.
Or are they going to put the house on the market? Or are they going to, no.
Are
No.
we different? And if so, how did we get?
The millennials suck for a whole host of other reasons. They're a ribbon.
Are we millennials?
Kinda.
I think we're. I think we are.
Millennials suck for a different generation because they were raised by these kind of boomer parents that were kind of Looney Tunes. The millennials got instilled in their heads that they wanted to be constantly recognized for something because their parents were so hostile towards them. The millennials went to universities in corporate America and said, please pin a ribbon on me, tell me I'm good, look, I voted, look, I believe in this and that and this cause, and I'm gonna
on the back.
I'm gonna pats on the back constantly.
Interesting.
I'm good, love me, love me, love me, society, my parents hate me, will you love me? And they became annoying, they became helicopter parents. They're the ones that are over-parenting their children to compensate. They're the annoying people that are like, what's the new thing?
The pendulum
Ukraine,
flag.
this flag, sub that flag, now it's that flag, now I'm into this. And all of it is because they just want to be, they
Adulation.
I had cousins and people like that. All they wanted was to get into a good school to hold it over people's heads. You know what I mean? They didn't care about knowledge. They don't care about, some of the dumbest people I know are the most well-traveled because they learn nothing by traveling. It's just an Instagram photo. They don't care. It's what I respect about you. You learned stuff and I'll talk to you. Like, you'll be like, you're inquisitive when you go to the Middle East and places like that.
Yeah.
When my cousin goes to the Middle East, not just her, but people like that, when they go anywhere, it is solely to show other people that they have zero care about anything. That's the millennials. It's groupthink. Yeah. It's give me love, tell me I'm good, tell me I'm better. I've done the work. I put the time in. Look at me. I got the job. I got the office. I'm the girl boss. I'm the whatever.
Yeah.
And the Zoomers are kind of a little more fun because they're a little bit more nihilistic. They've seen all the institutions crumble. They've seen all the things.
Zoomers are after Gen Z. Oh no, that's Gen Z.
They are Gen Z.
This is after millennials.
Yeah, and the Zoomers are more self-starters. They're more independent. They've seen operations like this. They've seen people make great careers going the independent route. Millennials really, for the most part, didn't see that. Millennials looked more towards the institutions. They wanted those institutions to convey the respect on them that their parents didn't. The Zoomers are like, okay, we're out here in the wilderness where
let's make it happen.
Let's make it happen. We're self-starters. We don't need anyone. We don't need a corporation.
And their parents love them, so they don't need that validation.
And their parents love them too much.
They've kind of like, maybe it's badass of them, or maybe it's dangerous, but they've kind of rejected the woke ideology a little bit.
Yes, they have, because it's a very the woke ideology is a very millennial ideology.
So you have to reject the generation.
Yeah, that ideology is about advancement. It's about the revenge of the mediocre. It's not about helping actual genuine people that have been disenfranchised.
Yeah.
It's more about pinning a medal or a ribbon on yourself and saying, I believe the right thing, give me a job.
Yeah.
I want to be, It's all these people that went to school and they majored in things like gender studies, and then all the boomer right-wingers were like, you'll never get a job. It's like, no, they created the jobs.
Yeah.
They created the jobs. They created the institutions. They said, you need a diversity thing. You need a sensitivity reader. You need this. You need a cultural sensitivity czar. And they became all these jobs. And that's what the Zoomers see, how fake it all is. They see through it.
Yeah.
And the millennials do such a bad job of disguising that it's really just like, whether you want to call it a jobs program or the revenge of the mediocre, that's what a lot of that ideology is.
It's refreshing, though, that the Zoomers see it so clearly.
Yeah.
Like, you speak to some of these kids, and they're painfully aware of how ridiculous it is.
Yes.
They kind of laugh at it, but it's not like they're not progressive about certain things.
Yes.
There's certain things that make sense. Like, they kind of go, yeah, obviously. Like, you don't have, it's not like their rejection is
they have so
fucking throw gays off the buildings, right? They don't
not
reject that. The bad ones.
Yeah.
But there are a little bit, I don't know how to explain it. Yeah, they're
gay marriage is obvious. It's like
exactly. You're like, yo, let them get married, whatever.
But we can also call each other gay, and that's not hateful.
Yeah, they've kind of like evened out in a nice area.
I think that generation would be the one that is going to have the biggest role to play in all of the things we talked about and where America lands.
Yeah, you have the most hope for them.
And whether it's hope, it's certainly interesting to watch. It's everything you're saying is correct. I think it's too soon yet, because I think we could have looked at like these boomers and went, wow, they're really rejecting like this commercialism and all of this stuff, and then literally they turned on a dime. So I don't know which. It's very interesting to watch, but I think the indications are good from that generation, except there's a little nihilism there. And the nihilism is a problem. And the nihilism they can blackpill themselves into.
Explain nihilism a little bit.
The idea that because everything is so terrible and all the information is at their fingertips,
they can't believe any of the information.
They kind of not believe any of it, and they've disconnected emotionally from it. That's why they'll just watch videos of people getting their head chopped off all day.
Also, like, a lot of the drugs are disassociative, right? They're like,
I mean, Euphoria is such an amazing show because it does paint like a pretty accurate perception of what's going on in a California high school. You have people ODing, people struggling with gender identity, violence. You have people's parents, struggling with drugs issues. So it's such a great show. That being said, like, Sam Levinson did a great job of painting an accurate picture. But you watch that show and go, wow, what an amazing show. Then you go, I don't want my kid going there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're like, I don't want my kid going to Euphoria High.
Yeah.
But the nihilism is interesting. I have noticed that with some of them.
They're a little black-eyed.
They are
black-eyed nihilists.
And I thought it was
my godson, 3 years old, black-eyed nihilist.
Yeah.
Just kind of looks at you, doesn't care.
Unaffected,
doesn't
They've seen
care.
everything.
They're just
I thought
they've seen everything.
You know what's funny? I thought this was I saw a lot of girls that grow up in New York City are like this.
Oh, yeah.
Even our generation.
They're going to clubs at 14.
Exactly. They've seen it all. They've
seen
been
it
like,
all.
had fucking disgusting old men with their like parents' friends try to fuck them. Like,
Right.
They've seen the world for the worst versions of it. If you're protected in a nice, lovely little suburb and everybody's polite to one another and you're not being manipulated by old dudes every single day and some guy's trying to finger you at work, etc.
Yeah.
You can have, you know, these doughy eyes about the world. These girls at 14 going to the fucking
They
club.
know what it's like.
And they have that little bit of nihilism. That's what I see in the Zoomers.
I think we have
a
that.
little bit of darkness.
And it's good, but they can't OD on it because then it could get a little.
You're unaffected. You're just unaffected by anything, and you need to be affected to do shit.
You need to be affected. You need to care a little bit about something. And it's just very hard. It's very hard because the world has gotten crazy.
Yeah.
And it's always been crazy, but it's now delivered to you. That craziness is delivered to you. There's a gang of kids in Arizona, white kids, running around attacking other kids randomly. They killed one of the kids. It's in Gilbert, Arizona. It's like an hour outside of Phoenix. I talked about it on my show. There's endless videotapes of these white kids stomping on the heads of kids.
Jesus.
Stomping on the heads of children. These kids are raised in gated communities in the suburbs. So there is something, I think, there's a nihilism that goes on where these kids become sociopaths by they're desensitized.
Yeah.
Okay?
Pulp Fiction.
And it's crazy.
Clockwork Orange, yeah.
Clockwork Orange. This kid, Preston Lord, he died. This 16-year-old kid was killed at a house party. And, you know, now they're trying to make arrests. It's kind of difficult, you know, but like, they're running around Arizona. These are rich white kids rich by the standards of Arizona, not Manhattan. Their parents own a fucking gym or something.
But they're also like,
you know what I mean?
They're also kind of raised in a social media era that's not really about, this is gonna sound super fucking pretentious, whatever, but there's not a lot of art in it. It's more just like clout and clicks.
That's correct.
So it's just, how do I get attention? Whereas I feel like maybe we had a benefit, at least growing up in New York, where like, even if you weren't the most successful person, if you were the best artist, you had a lot of respect. Like people like, hey, that guy right there is a great skateboarder. That guy's a great, and you really respected that person because of their craft.
Yeah.
And I feel like now it's just like, what kind of train wreck will get the most views and clicks? Okay, let's put that out there. And then you have kids trying to recreate the train wreck instead of getting really good at a thing. And when you know that it doesn't matter about being good, it just matters how crazy the train wreck is. Of course you're gonna be nihilistic about it. Why would you care?
Yes.
I don't care at all.
That's right.
What's the split though? Because you started saying Gen Z is like the most hopeful generation, and now you're saying.
Well, there's hope in them in that they look at our absurdities, and we do have a lot of absurdities.
Yes.
The worst version of them is black-eyed nihilists that don't care about anything at all.
That's the fringes, I think.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I think the best part of Gen Z is that they're appropriately skeptical of the institutions.
Yeah.
And they're not.
They're raised to be. It's like they don't need to
raised
learn like us.
They need.
Like we learn.
They look at Big Mama.
They know.
When Big Mama comes on with the cookie.
Yeah.
And she takes out the whiteboard. The boomers love it. They get excited.
Yeah.
That's our avatar. That's Big Mama.
Yeah.
Katie's gonna come on and slap Jamie Dimon around. This is our Tuesday ritual.
Yeah.
The Zoomers look at that and they know what it is. They know it's fake.
Yeah.
They don't care.
They laugh at it.
They laugh at it.
It's funny.
It's funny. It's entertainment. It's the way I look at it. And I think that's the best version of them. The worst version of them is running around and killing people in Arizona.
To give them credit, there's stories of us killing, like, who was it, Matthew Shepard, I think, when it was like the late 90s. This dude is gay, bunch of homophobic.
Yeah, that was a meth thing that they've repurposed to be a homophobic thing. It was meth related.
Oh, really?
I'm very big into facts, but I'm sure they were homophobic as well.
It just so happened.
It was one of the, there's more layers to it. That being said, I'm sure nobody was winning a progressive award down there.
We had our fringes that did crazy.
We had our we had the trench coat mafia.
Yeah.
We had school shooters. We still do. There's always going to be, I think, that antisocial thing.
Yeah.
But are these kids the machines are also big. Maybe it's not the kids of the future. Maybe it's the machines.
I feel like the Zoomers would see a school shooter and like eye roll. They'd be like,
oh yeah, totally.
Well, it's still happening.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing about the school shootings now is that they're not as effective as they were. In the sense that society doesn't care.
There we go. Yeah.
They don't care. Society doesn't care anymore. No one cares.
Yeah, it sucks.
And it might actually stop them.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
Start
if you're
pouring gas and lighting yourself on fire.
there, you go. Make some
Viral.
change.
At least that's you. I have no problem with that. That's just you making
That's
a choice for your
you.
own
But
body.
that's the Zoomers. If they're so desensitized, to
Then
this
do
thing,
it yourself. That's a great moment that he's having there. And I look at it because when I see, and he's still, because he begins the Free Palestine, he says it and he says it. And then the third one, he's really going. So he's like,
he's curdling.
but it's a great moment in terms of, you know, brand awareness.
Yeah.
This is brand awareness.
It is.
It's brand awareness. He's in the fatigues. He's in the camo. He's in front of the embassy.
Fresh press.
It's well framed. The video's good. It's not too high def. You don't want too high def.
yeah.
You don't want to shoot this in 4K.
feels raw.
Yeah.
This is a
Doesn't
1080.
feel corporate.
Yeah.
It feels good. And you know what it is?
1080.
It's a 1080. You want it a little blurry, a little grainy. It's more historic. It's more historic.
You
And
don't
I
feel
just
like it's
like
branded.
I love this for him right
Is there
now.
any narration?
Yeah, he just yells Free Palestine a few times. And then
But we need like a black kid holding it like, damn.
Yeah, well, it's got to be on World Star.
Yeah,
It's got, people are going to comment on it, but I just love this for him right now. I love the visceral. I love the look.
Yeah.
And I think it's, you know, because marketing companies are looking at this. If you don't think they're going to somehow learn a lesson from this to sell Chobani flips, you're out of your mind.
Chobani flips.
You're completely out of your mind. If the Chobani marketing team is not watching this video,
Those are great.
and they're amazing because you put right in, it works.
Yeah.
But if you don't think they're watching this over and over again to try to figure out how do we get it to do, like, what if we pour nuts on ourselves outside of the Dannon factory?
there you go.
Say Free Palestine.
Get
And
Kendall
say,
Jenner on
you know
it.
what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's interesting, you know?
Tim,
Andrew,
I
thank
love you. You are the man.
Thank you for
I
having
want
me.
everybody to go check out Tim's stand up. He
Thank
is
you.
on tour. You're constantly on tour.
I'm over. It's
I
over.
don't know how you.
My
churn it
agent
out.
is very overweight, and this is why it works.
Justin, we love you, Justin.
We love it because when you're on tour a lot, you're killing yourself.
Yeah.
But he's also killing himself at home.
Yeah.
So what I can't yell at him, like I can't. It's not like I have a fit agent playing tennis.
Yeah.
And I'm just dying.
Yeah.
We're both dying. That's why it works. But I'm getting off Royal Albert Hall, and then we're
And a
done.
whole European tour too.
And European tour, Helsinki, and the other crap. Who cares? Come to Royal Albert. Who cares? Dublin sold out, or Belfast. One of those
Amazing.
hellholes.
Yeah.
The point is, I'm kidding. I'm from there. I love you. Potato heads. Now the point is, Royal Albert Hall. We're talking Markle. We're talking good people over there. We're defending the monarchy. I'm there to defend the monarchy from the interlopers, from the people that are coming it, and the Tim Dillon Show. And we love everyone, and thank you, and you're the best.
Yo,
and
check out Tim.
Thank
Dillon
you so
Show.
much.
We need
Thank
Tim to
you.
host SNL, dude.
Yo, Tim, what do you? Oh yeah, we didn't even talk about SNL.
Yeah.
Shout
It was
out to
amazing.
Shane.
Shane
Shout
did
out
a
to
great
Shane.
job.
Yeah.
He did an amazing job. They asked me to, just to show you where my career's at, they asked me to host an RFK benefit instead. So that's similar. It was on a Saturday. Oh, nice. I said no.
Yeah.
But that's where what I'm doing right now is like just me and RFK dodging bullets.
How do you feel about RFK?
Fun, like him, not gonna win, but that's okay.
Would you vote for him? Are you voting for him?
Maybe. I think I would. I do like him.
Yeah.
I do like him a lot. I think I would vote for him. He's hard to run for president.
Yeah.
That's what I'll say.
Yeah.
It's
He's
very
charming though.
He's charming. His wife is amazing. Cheryl Hines is amazing.
Yeah.
Herb is the greatest comedy. of all
And
time.
brave, knowing that like every time his family did this, they got killed.
I mean, they would go shoot his dog in the head in front of him and then look at him and go, isn't it sad that dog drowned?
It's unbelievable.
Black lab. Yeah. They go, God, that's sad the way he drowned. And he'd be bleeding with a bullet in his head. He's staring at him as a kid.
No, it is.
He went through a lot.
It's audacious what they've done to his family.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I like, even just looking into it.
They've also killed the Kennedys, though. But that doesn't make it right.
Wait, tell me.
Well, you know, Ted drove that woman off a bridge, drowned her. They were bootleggers. They were in with the mafia.
I heard the
They were
bootlegging.
rapists. They raped people.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Well, now I really want them on.
Yeah. No, they're.
Now I need
not
RFK
him,
to
but
come on.
When we're talking with
No,
them,
you're
they
saying
probably
his family.
whacked Marilyn Monroe and stuff. They're not clean. Nobody's hands are
They whacked Marilyn Monroe.
Yeah.
For saying that she fucked JFK.
Yeah, there's things. But I mean,
I heard the bootlegger thing was a CIA smear.
no, they're not clean. They're
I didn't
not
say they're clean. I just heard the bootlegger thing was because he was making like clean movies in Middle America. That was the business.
Was it the business? I just think it's kind of well known that they certainly became friends with a lot of mobsters if they weren't bootleggers. What a fun coincidence.
What do you think? What do you think? What do you think?
Well, I just think, listen,
we gotta have them on.
At that level of, at that level of society, you're commingling with a lot of unsavory types. I'm not saying that the Kennedys deserved anything that happened to them. I'm just saying they're not an innocent family.
Really? So they're not just this innocent, benevolent family that's just trying to save the Hudson?
No, they never were. They were a ruthless, bloodthirsty,
dynasty,
patrician, blue blood cult. That, of course, has some weird curses, and they threatened a lot of power factions that eventually hit back. And that was not good.
So they wouldn't play ball. They could have just rose to power, been another great American name, last name.
Yeah, JFK was a patriot. He loved his country. He was certainly a guy who was a revolutionary guy in the sense that he believed that the American government should function a different way. And that ended up getting him killed.
It seems like everybody who believes that kind of ends up dying.
Yes, but also those people, aren't always. They're not always. Their motives, are not always. They make a lot of messes along the way.
Yeah.
To getting to where they get to.
Yes. Okay, back to Shane real quick. Amazing story.
Yes.
To see that it's done.
Yes.
Kind of galvanized the comedy community to support SNL.
Yeah.
When I feel like we were kind of fractured with SNL.
Yeah, I think it's a great story. I think people are supporting Shane.
Yeah.
And he did an amazing job, and it's such a great story. I think.
It's also so weird, like the thing that you see, like. Also, one thing that shocked me, because I was, he was in the city working out the monologue, and I'd seen him do the monologue and just fucking crush every time I saw him go up. And the Down syndrome part, I thought was the most endearing, hilarious part. Like it really, I literally was watching him do it at the Cellar, and I was going, when he goes up and he does this on SNL, everybody in that building that ever doubted him or fired him is gonna feel like the biggest fucking piece of shit. Right?
Yeah.
And just the fact, and I thought we were beyond this point in comedy, just the fact that he said Down syndrome.
Yeah.
You could feel the audience fucking
But I think that's what was good about it. I actually think that, to me, I watched it, I thought it killed, and I also
thought he did great.
Because here's the deal. I think that should happen to an extent. People should go, what's going on? And then he's so funny, he overcomes any of that. I think it's good. I think tension's good. I don't see the building of tension, the releasing of it. That's what comedy is. So I think it was. I think it's a little different.
Like,
but it's New York City. So here's the deal: you're performing in New York City, in the middle of New York City, and people might be a little
we perform in New York City every single night.
Yeah, but it's probably a crowd of people that might be a little bit more sensitive.
That's what I'm saying. I didn't realize that there was still. I thought that we were beyond the point where you can't talk about this, but there are still topics, I guess, maybe in certain.
But I think that's
areas.
good for us. I don't think we need to be in a place where, because I think our superpower, if there is a superpower, is making something funny that shouldn't be.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
But now, so that to me, that's the most fun time when you can't say anything. The most fun time to do comedy.
For sure.
I do feel like we're entering a time where you can say anything.
Yeah.
But that was a reminder to me, like, oh, maybe there's certain spaces.
For sure.
Because I really thought that part of it, that they initially tightened up, obviously ended up winning them over. But even in that, but I couldn't believe it. It was
Could it have been? I was very invested in not liking this guy, and now I have to reassess everything because this is a guy who comes from. I had him painted as this bigot who's from this certain type of family.
No, because it was the end of the set. The beginning of the set, he's crushing.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought the moment where he flipped everything. It wasn't Rocky by any stretch, but I could feel like things ascend when he was like, started being like, I can look at everybody not laughing at me right now. He kind of stepped outside of the set and then he closed. I thought it just crushed.
I think it's just comedy. I think it's comedy. It's just sets are sets, right? And I mean, that's really what it was. A masterful set, I think, especially for a monologue on that show. Amazing.
I also think the SNL audience, like, they know that it's being recorded. They know it's live.
Yeah, there's like a pressure on them.
Yeah.
I want to host SNL in Russia, and where I'm standing there, and then there's red lights on my chest, and I just and I'm like, and I say hello, and Putin's there, and everyone nods, and I go, it's great to be here, and then like after every joke, it's just a bunch of like oligarchs and czars, and they're all smoking cigars, and they're all just kind of looking at each other, and there's no left. Everyone just kind of looks at each other. So that would be mine. That would be amazing for me. And then I just get through it, and they just kind of,
Would you have Putin on?
Yeah.
Really?
Well, I absolutely would.
They should have had you over there, dude.
It would have been a lot more fun.
Yeah.
It would have.
What would you have done when he starts doing the history lesson? Would you go ba 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 ba?
I would.
Ba, 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 ba.
I think a little of the history lesson was good, but I would have got into it, been like, what did you think of Prince Oleg? Piece of shit between me and you. What do you think about all of this stuff? Do you think these guys, was there any gay activity? Do you think there was gay activity?
Almost.
Do you think there was any gay activity with Oleg? Let's be honest. I hear Oleg.
We were talking to this historian, apparently Hitler, big gay.
Is that true?
Or just very, maybe not gay, but very welcoming of the gays.
Was that true?
That's what we heard, and apparently had to like change his policy a little bit later because some other people were not as welcoming. But what was he saying?
Yeah, that there was like a lot of like gay SS members that he was like that were very openly gay that he was kind of accommodating of and didn't really have any.
I think at the end of the day, he's like, I think Hitler's thing was we have one job.
Which is?
And if everyone's doing that job, we're not going to run around and get real personal with everybody and nitpick. We have one gig.
Yeah.
We've got a tunnel vision.
Yeah. But then sometimes people are like, oh, but they came for the Catholics too. You know.
I know that's.
Yeah, they did come for us.
That's
they mostly wanted to come for us.
Yeah, they really try to.
They mostly came for us.
To recruit
That's right.
maybe.
It was a,
maybe
it
to
was,
recruit
it was
you
a,
to kill more Jews.
It was
Genocide.
really a Catholic issue.
It was a genocide.
And that's what I've learned about the Holocaust.
That's the
Someone's
boomers.
bringing it up.
That's what the boomers do.
The boomers
see the Holocaust and be like, it happened to us as
it's
well.
a genocide of white
If the boomers can be explained in one sentence,
It's making
it's
the
a woman sitting down drinking a coffee going, the Irish were slaves too.
Didn't know it, everybody.
Thank you guys.
My man. Thank you so much, bro.